It is 6:01. Good morning. Live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Titans news, it was good news yesterday for rookie quarterback Cam Ward as the AC joint sprain that he suffered in the loss back on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars will not require surgery. The timetable and recovery has yet to be revealed, but the good news as the offseason begins. Also, more head coaching candidates requested for interviews by the Titans yesterday, adding to the list Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, who was fired yesterday, and former Falcons head coach Raheem Morris, who was fired on Sunday. They were all three added to the list. In other NFL news, two more head coaching vacancies in the league as the Raiders fired Pete Carroll after one season, finishing the season at 3-14 and with the number one overall pick in the NFL draft in April. Also, the Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon yesterday after 3 seasons. The Cardinals finished 3-14 and lost their last 9 games. Tonight, number 21 Tennessee basketball returns to the court to face Texas at the Food City Center in Knoxville and looking to avoid a second straight loss in SEC play. Tip-off tonight at 8 p.m. Central. You can, of course, hear Vol Network's call right here on 104.5 The Zone at 7:30. For all your foundation repair waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
A very good Tuesday morning to you in Music City, USA. Welcome in to Ramon and Will as the Titans head coach search rolls on. Another name or two joins the candidate pool, I guess, with a head coach firing. Happened twice after we left you yesterday morning, maybe more that could come today. Whomstis to say? On this Tuesday, January the 6th, 615-737-1045. He is Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins, our producer. I'm Will Bowling. We got good news on Cam Ward's throwing shoulder. Sprained AC joint. Said yesterday he does not need surgery for now. As many national reporters, Ramon, say that the best case scenario is, in fact, reality. Good news for Titans fans to start their offseason. Good morning.
Yes, it is, man. And just for him, too, nobody wants to go into the offseason with a surgery. I thankfully never did. I ended up having to get one. It was about March, April, and into like the springtime or whatever, because I was working out and I started to work out a little bit harder. You know, it's that time of the year where you start to report also. And I felt a clicking in my knee. And I was just like, this is not okay. I honestly felt it towards the end of the season, and somehow something happened. So what it was, I had a loose body inside of my knee. It's loose body is a piece of cartilage that kind of falls off. And from time to time, it'll get caught up in like joints, and it'll make it like catch, meaning stop at a point where I don't have full flexibility, or it would click. And I thought I would be fine. The trainers were aware about it when I did my exit meeting, and I was still under contract and stuff like that. So it wasn't like it was in, in a free agent situation. But what I do remember about that time of the year or having an off-season surgery is it messes up everything. It, like, you can't train the way you want to. It messes with you mentally. You end up missing reps and stuff like that. There's just a lot of just carryover and worry in the offseason when you got to have those type of surgeries. So if it is just rehab for Cam, he can go about living his day-to-day life and just making sure, honestly, that he's doing the exact same things that he would, and that would be to train, I'm sure strengthening it, rehabbing it, ultrasound. There's so much stuff, red light therapy that you can do in those moments to kind of heal it up. But like being bandaged up and losing muscle and having to see if you can get back to your old self, it's problematic going into the offseason.
How quickly would you start work again in an offseason, or how much time off would you give yourself?
If we end it this week right here and we're no playoffs, I'd probably crank up after the Super Bowl. And in that time, like, to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't do a whole lot from now until the Super Bowl. I'd probably go to the gym. I never forget, my wife and I were going to the YMCA and stuff like that just to get some cardio in. But as far as like heavy lifting and trying to run on the ground and all those types of things, no. As soon as the Super Bowl end, man, I was shooting to Brentwood every single day, getting my training in, just because you got to have a baseline. to be quite honest with you, some guys don't do anything other than light cardio and light running up until April because
it's insane to me.
I don't see how they do it. I mentally would be in a position where I would, preach to myself, I can't lose muscle. I got to make sure that, hey, I'm presenting myself in a very proper way. And I'll never forget. We had ended the season. This is why it's awesome to have vets around too. We ended the season. And I was still staying in Pittsburgh in the offseason. This was when I was younger. And I never forget James Harrison was in the weight room with a bunch of us young guys going into the offseason. And Debo's what we call him. James would be in there like a maniac, lifting at like 4, 5 in the morning before anybody else had got there. And I never forget he said this, like, young fellas, you know how you get in shape? We looking around at him like, oh, Lord, what is he going to say? He said, yeah, stay in shape.
Stay in shape. Yeah, that's right.
I was just like, yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Thank goodness sakes.
And he's built like that. Me personally, playing 1,000 reps of hitting a 300-pounder every single play in the body work, I'm like, I kind of need to get out of shape for a little bit.
100%.
But that's kind of just how it goes, though, Will, and that world is. And then usually I wasn't terribly out of shape. It's just getting the running back down. So I would set mine up off, pick up after the Super Bowl, get a baseline, not a whole lot of running. And then like when I came back for OTAs, I'd lift heavy for about a month more. And then it was mostly just running.
It's interesting. I was watching a video the other day. A couple of Barstool guys were talking about the differences between just football practice, even in season, now compared to 20 years ago. Yeah. And it was a player from Indiana talking to T-Bob Herbert, or Herbert, however you say it, from LSU.
Yeah.
And talking about how Curt Cignetti's Indiana practices are intense, a lot of hitting, but short.
Short?
Like an hour 20, hour 40 minutes on the field. Ooh. But while you're there, you're getting stuff done. And that there are walkthrough periods within that. There are like things that kind of it's higher intensity for a shorter amount of time, but they're not wasting any time out there either. I thought that was interesting too. It just I'm always really curious at how much. Well, first of all, I'm curious in how Indiana's done it with Curt Cignetti, but I'm curious in just as a whole, from professional to high school, how the process of practice has changed, even probably in the time that you've gotten done.
Oh, no doubt. The morning stuff, I never had any idea of many teams that was like practicing in the mornings from like 2004 to 2008. During the season, everybody practiced after 1 o'clock is the way I saw. This morning shift kind of changed, I think, with class. I think mostly after the pandemic with the remote side of things too. And I personally don't understand morning practices for teams other than coaches want to make sure they get their players in the building, get them going first thing in the morning, and they force them to class. It's the way I was kind of taught to me. Yeah. You like the college side of it is if you're up, you're gonna go to class. The way I look at it, if I'm up and I'm done with football practice,
then I'm
probably going home.
Sleep.
yeah, I'm probably going home. It's the way I always looked at those things. I don't know many teams in the NFL that practice in the morning. It's usually about 11 o'clock. We practice every day at 1 o'clock. Well, you know why? It was 1 o'clock Eastern. It was kickoff time.
Sure.
That's the way we usually did it. Only morning practice that we had was on Fridays, and that was because coaches are trying to give you that time to acclimate, get your body back from where you've beaten it down throughout the course of the week. But, also, too, the one thing that I noticed as far as the NFL goes, there is less practice time on the field. You mentioned something about what Curt Cignetti does with his team or what his players said he does.
Yeah.
Walkthroughs. Tons and tons of walkthroughs. I don't think we had that many walkthroughs and meetings as I did in college than what we did in the NFL. The NFL, and I think it's because it's less people, less time, but you need way more detail. High school is like herding cats still, I think, for the most part. Teaching. Yeah, and college is get them in the classroom and you got the 40-hour structure. But in the NFL, and seems to be Curt Cignetti too, well, we would have three walkthroughs before we even hit the practice field sometimes.
Wow.
And that's because the detail of teaching. If I can teach you, take it to the practice field, and that way we don't have to waste time on reps. But here's the thing too, guys learn different ways.
That's true. Did you have football withdrawals last night without Monday Night Football, or were you locked in on FCS football?
I did watch FCS football.
Did you see the ending?
I did.
Unbelievable.
Oh gosh.
Montana State 35, Illinois State 34, right down the road in front of a packed house.
Loud.
I saw Pat Forty say on Twitter that this was better than the Missouri Vanderbilt crowd that he saw in person this year. I don't know about all that, Pat. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. However, great atmosphere. Flying back or just coming from Jacksonville, like incredible how many Montana State and Illinois State people were here. Mm-hmm. I know they I think instituted a direct flight for Montana State people. And I think maybe Illinois State too. That may be a driving distance. I'm not sure. But first national championship since 1984 in FCS title game history for the Bobcats of Montana State.
Montana, their coach was so appreciative after. I stayed up to watch him talk about it. I think they got close 2 years in a row as far as getting it. Montana. Who was it that they beat? Was it Montana?
They beat Montana, yeah.
To finally get over the hump. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that ticket, it was like $4,000 to get into that one. But legitimately,
insane, yeah.
That coach was so appreciative, man. They tried to make it about him and him winning as much as they could in that interview, and he just pushed everything back to the players and the players that had come before him, and just. It was cool and fun watching them. That wide receiver, Taco, I forget his last name, that made the touchdown.
Taco Dowler. Woo! Legend. Remember the name.
Man was moving last night with the ball in his hand.
Incredible. Yeah, we had missed extra points. We had penalties on big plays. We had so many false starts. Illinois State was the first FCS team to win 4 straight road games to advance through the playoffs to the championship game. Very fun football. I know a lot of people probably just there. I thought about going. If I hadn't been under the weather for like the last month straight, I would have definitely gone.
Got to get right.
I know.
Got to get right, man.
Let's go to Joe the trucker in Florida, who's chimed in with us early, 615-737-1045. What's up, Joe?
Morning, Joe.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing this morning?
We're great. You?
Oh, man, I'm just sitting here at a Purina plant waiting to get unloaded. Living the dream, you know?
I know.
So we noticed, me and my buddy were talking last night, Mike McCoy wasn't fired yesterday, and I think a lot of us expected McCoy to get fired yesterday at some point. But my question is, do the Titans value McCoy more than the general public does?
It's a good question, Joe.
That's a great question.
What do you think?
That's a great question. I think they're paying him respect.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to get fired yesterday. I think... Certainly, he is valued for the job he did because he had a long tenure as interim.
There's a long, I think, exit for him also in this process because I do think he has a point to where he can actually sit and say, hey, yeah, I do want to interview with this team. I think it's that part of it, too. And the other side of it is historically the Titans have let people go on Tuesdays. There's been a running joke, I know, is the Titans do stuff on Tuesday.
I don't know if it's a joke. I just think it's kind of the truth. In a lot of ways. I mean, until there is a new staff.
Yeah.
I mean, in your situation, how have these things typically gone in your... I mean, you never had a head coach.
Not a head coach.
Years.
I've had a position coach.
Yeah.
I went into... It was by Wednesday for him. And I did my exit meeting and everything. And I never forget leaving out of there, Joe, speaking of like time wasted... I leave out of the room and I go meet with Coach Tomlin. Coach Tomlin's like, yeah, we're going to let him go. I'm like, I just met with this guy speaking about next year's plans. You could have
you could have saved me like a half hour. Yeah. You didn't have to give him the pink slip yet, but let me know so I don't have to waste my time.
Don't let me go meet with him, Coach. Funny. I'm under contract next year.
That's really
Joe,
funny.
The point of it is this in these situations, They vary, and he's an interim coach for the most part too. And before then, he was just simply on staff. So that point,
it's off field. Yeah,
that point is he could still be in the building in that same capacity moving forward. Though it's the way I view that one.
Yeah, I think the general rule of thumb on all of this and a head coach search is it's going to take time.
It's going to take time, and it's a lot of names. I've seen a lot of people say, "Why are we interviewing this guy, Raheem Morris?" And I think there's. Social media's count like 15 people on the head coach list.
Not that have been requested yet, but there have been at least that many linked to the job, yes.
Yeah.
Just from people, but, whose people?
Whose people? this time of the year.
Live for the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio, Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. We will tell you all of those interview requests when we come back. We'll also address Cam Ward's shoulder injury, and you'll hear from him on what he's going to be working on this offseason and why the injury will not make a difference. And you'll hear all of that coming up next. Winter plumbing issues come in all forms. You know it, like drips, clogs. Maybe it's that hot water hasn't been pumping through the pipes when you need it the most. Well, no matter what the plumbing issue is, Lee Company is available 24/7 to get the job done right. Lee Company's award-winning team has you covered from the kitchen sink to the water heater, everything in between. Lee Company takes care of it. That's why I love having that LeeCompany.com website close by at all times. You can contact Lee Company and schedule online there at LeeCompany.com. That's LeeCompany.com for professional plumbing service. Look, Lee Company's a staple in this area of town. 80-plus years of experience. They've been trusted since 1944 with 14 community locations in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama. If you got that plumbing issue around the house, get Lee Company out there to fix it for you. Online at LeeCompany.com. That's Lee Company. All you need. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, hour 1 getting started on this Tuesday morning. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch, where you can stream us. In the comment section there, the F&M Bank chat is open. At Remote Foster, at Will_Bowling, 615-737-1045. Let's go back to the phones. Matt's in Shelbyville wanting to talk coaching search this morning. What's up, Matt?
Morning, Matt.
Hey, morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. We're fine.
Happy New Year and all that.
You too?
Absolutely.
I will say this. Your coaching search is going to be a little bit harder than you think.
Why is that?
Mark Vrabel got fired because, he did lose 7 games in a row, and then you hired Callahan. Callahan went 3-14, and then the next year, he didn't even last a year and a half. You go 3-14 again. You're going to have to give this coach a guaranteed rope, because if you go 3-14 again next year, which you have a good chance of doing, you're going to be in the same situation again. That means Cam Ward is going to have 3 coaches in 4 years. So I would give the job to McCoy. If you said everybody played better from the last part of the season, well, then that means the coaching staff was doing what they were doing. But you can't bring the coach to move it forward because you don't have a roster for that coach to weather the storm, so to speak.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Did you think Mike Vrabel had a roster to weather the storm in New England when he got hired this time last year? Because they just gone one and done with Gerard Mayo, and that job didn't look super attractive either. And now they're the number 2 seed in the AFC.
Okay, so you're going to have to ask Ramon that, because I'm not in the room, but I will say that things fall into place. The stars align right, but I would have no idea.
Okay. Sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to cut you off, but we got to keep it moving. What do you think about that? Mike McCoy a legit option? Is Titans
Mike McCoy legit?
Yeah, to Matt's point, do you hire the interim because you've had so much turnover that you don't feel like you can get a legit candidate? These are Matt's words, not mine.
I just want to go to our YouTube chat real quick and says, somebody asks, Doug says, caller, you good? Duck goes, hell no. Marciano goes, who? This fool on my phone line. Savage starts laughing. Duck goes again, Matt. And I told you, don't ask me that, okay? My point of it is this, though. Matt, I know where you're coming from as far as, the perception of the Tennessee Titans to this point is instability, rocky, not aligned when it comes down to what's been presented. It's fragile as far as the next coach is going to take Cam under their wing and try to develop him and make this team into a winning product. The league is designed, though, Matt, to your point, to have it where you can get back to where you once were. I will say this about the coaching candidates as of late. Vrabel just kind of fell off the cliff a little bit here. Vrabel, I think you knew was a good coach. It's the same way in college I felt Coach Foreman was a good coach. Some people just need time. You're not afforded time when you're losing. Matt, what I would tell you is this: losing eats fans. It eats the building. Players, I'm telling you, man, get swallowed up. It creates small group conversations about this group sucks and that group's not this good. And, man, I'm doing my job and me. It creates a lot of divisiveness when you lose. I will also say winning cares a lot, okay? Those are the things that you're looking for out of this new regime when it comes down to how you're going to hire somebody. So what I would say to you, Matt, and saying it's going to be hard to find a coach that want to take this job, it's never hard in the NFL job. Is one of 32, and I know that's such a cliche, but what I'm getting at is this. You got the most money to spend going into free agency, the same as New England Patriots. You got a young quarterback that shows to be promising, and hopefully he doesn't have to have a surgery going into the offseason. I do think the football people in charge of this coaching search, namely Mike Berganzi, has a plan, and you want to align. There was a clip last night, man, when you speak about stability. I think I sent it to our group chat on Twitter. I'm trying to find it right now. But it's fascinating looking at the teams that are in the playoffs right now, the longest tenured GMs. I think it starts there, Matt, more than just saying a coach doesn't want to go take this type of job, right? Is the way I look at it. It's Jerry Jones. All right, we'll exclude Jerry. He's an owner. Duke Tobin, Mickey Loomis.
These are longest tenured GMs currently in the NFL.
Longest tenured GMs. And the thing that you're seeing is a lot of wins. Mickey Loomis, Super Bowl winner. John Schneider, Super Bowl winner. Howie Roseman, 2-time Super Bowl winner. Les Snead, Super Bowl winner.
Jason Light in Tampa.
Yeah, Tampa, Super Bowl winner, and Chris Ballard, 1 playoff win.
Yeah, that was a Colts writer making an example of why in the world does Chris Ballard still have a job, which is a great question.
Which is a great point.
What's the context of that tweet?
I think, Matt, the point of your conversation and question is stability is how you get to that point in which people want to be around and you keep the same, I guess, standard is what you're looking for here.
Well, let's not forget how quickly they got the top candidate in last year's GM market, Mike Borgonzi.
Yeah.
In a year that everyone felt like nationally, oh, well, the Titans have so much instability. They're not going to be able to get a top candidate. They're just going to settle for. And then here comes Mike Borgonzi, who is seen by many NFL national media types as the top candidate last GM cycle.
I like you're scorned. I'm not even sure if Matt is a Titans fan.
I don't know.
Because he said you guys, and I was just like, well, you don't play. And
yeah, I'm not making the hire.
Yeah.
I think to that point, too, the reason why teams have openings is because of instability. That's not a uniquely Titans problem.
Right.
9 times out of 10, if there is a head coach opening in the NFL, it is the result of some sort of instability. The off example is a coach retiring, a coach having, the odd health issue that forces him to step down, a coach just deciding, you know what, I don't really want to do this anymore, a better opportunity popping up at a place that like 9 times out of 10, if you have an opening, then some sort of instability has led you to that opening. That's not just the Titans. You think the Giants don't have instability right now? I mean, they're keeping around Joe Shane, but it seems like a pretty lame duck GM situation there. Atlanta just fired Raheem Morris in a very similar timeline as what you fired Brian Callahan in. Oh, and by the way, they're looking for a GM. Yeah. Arizona, I saw this yesterday, has not had a coach for more than 6 years in their history. You think that's not instability? I understand Matt's point, and I think the noise around this team and its instability is obviously louder to the people in this area because you're hearing more about this every day, and we're talking about it day in and day out. It's not just a Titans problem. There are plenty of unstable organizations in the NFL, and here's the good thing. Those other ones don't have Cam Ward. This one has Cam Ward. This one has a new stadium being built as well.
I will say this, Matt, and anybody is saying nobody's going to want the Titans job. NFL jobs, man, all of them, position coaches and all, are like the high school beauty queen. Everybody think they can fix her when she go rogue, okay?
That's true.
Or it's like the former first-round quarterback. I don't want to say it like that, but like everybody think that I'm the one for this job. You got to think about how optimistic Brian Callahan was, right? Like, that's every coach's feeling going into these type of situations.
It's true. Cam Ward spoke yesterday, as did many veteran players. You'll hear from Jeffrey Simmons as the show continues. Mike McCoy had his locker room clean-out day press conference as well. Cam Ward was asked about his shoulder injury and was asked, is there relief in the prognosis that you got?
There is relief for myself, for the building, and the training staff. They gonna get it right. Continue to walk me through the process, what I need to do to get better, and get back on the field.
What is the prescription? What do you need to do to get better?
Just heal. Talk with the trainers. Probably have some rehabbing, and then just continue to try to get stronger on my shoulder, and then try to get ready for next year. You said how long? There hasn't been a time limit yet, but it's a good thing. It's the offseason. I got a couple months.
So thinking you don't need surgery?
I don't know that for sure. That's all in the training room. But if that's the case, we're gonna do what I need to do. But I don't think that's the case right now.
What's the biggest thing?
Follow-up question, as you just heard the lead into it just a minute later. I thought this was interesting as well. What did you learn, Cam, from your rookie season?
You just got to take every game and approach it a different way. You don't know, who you're lining up against on the other side of the ball. you get a chance to see some freakish athletes out there in the world, and you just got to know how to operate with it. Get your guys the ball, and I've learned that throughout the year. They also staying upright, staying healthy, and then just trying to finish to go into next season the same way we finished this season on offense.
How does the injury change your plans to go and work on mechanics and through all the things that you wanted to shore up this offseason? How much does it push that back?
It doesn't push it back at all. I'm working on my base, on my mechanics. I'm not changing my throwing motion. So the timetable for what I have set to get to mechanically what I need to do is still on schedule.
It's Cam Ward talking yesterday. Does that mean anything significant to you that he's saying surgery isn't totally off the table at this point? What stands out from Cam's next steps there in his own words?
Sounded like he was protecting the information that was given to him. The fact that he said, I don't think surgery is possible right now makes me think, okay, a conversation has been had about it. I'm not foreshadowing anything he said. And for people that didn't see the presser yesterday too, I was actually working through it, but I saw him at the podium. He also didn't have on a sling. He had a hoodie on. I'm not sure if that was for optics. I asked Jay Hawk here, our resident therapist, about,
That's Dr. Hawk.
Dr. Hawk. I asked Dr. Hawk about it this morning. I said, Hawk, with a grade 3 AC joint sprain, is he supposed to be in a sling? And Dr. Hawk said he didn't think he needed to.
Well, we also don't know 100% that it is a grade 3.
Yeah.
I think that was the initial indication.
Right.
But there were also more testing that they had to get done yesterday.
I thought that was definite.
No. Not with
That's on me
if you
then.
don't need
The
surgery.
initial belief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you don't need surgery, it's not necessary that you have to have the sling because the sling is going to protect you. So obviously he's doing well enough to be able to move it. His prognosis now is just rest and heal and try to get it stronger. So maybe take a couple of days off and then start the initial rehab process.
Sprained AC joint in his right shoulder was the info that came out yesterday. And that, Ian Rappaport of NFL.com says it's best case scenario
Okay.
for Cam.
Well, it's to go back to his original, I guess, diagnosis of himself, not sure he's going to have it. Maybe that's when the inflammation has to go down and see what his rotation is going to look like for. Whatever it is, it seems that time is the only way you're going to find out whether he decides to move his arm around a little bit more and test it in a month or not. This is one of those situations I love to know the answer before. It's like, if I need surgery, give it to me now. Don't let me get into OTAs and I feel this twinge in my shoulder and now we got to go get it reevaluated somewhere. So that's the only issue I have with those types of things.
It's also the off season. So how much do they have to actually disclose what the injury
Nothing right now.
Exactly.
Nothing.
So they're also probably going to protect it a little bit.
They never have to disclose even the severity, ever. It would just be in terms of availability if there was a game to be available for. So the Titans on day one of the head coach search in the offseason have been linked to a lot of names. In an official capacity, they have requested interviews with Chiefs OC Matt Nagy, Broncos DC Vance Joseph, Chiefs DC Steve Spagnuolo, and Colts DC Lou Anarumo. The Titans have scheduled interviews with former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski and former Falcons head coach Raheem Morris. Those two names were added after we got off air yesterday. Titans also been linked in terms of expected to interview or expected to request interviews with former Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy and Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury. Raheem Morris, we were talking about him before the show started. 6 years of head coach experience, 37-56 record as a head coach. Way back in 2009 to 2011 with Tampa Bay, he went 17-31. And the last two seasons at Atlanta, he was 20-25. 8-9 each of the last two seasons. He also had a brief stint as interim head coach when Dan Quinn was fired, and he was still on staff in Atlanta before that. He was the Rams defensive coordinator from 2021 to 2023, won a Super Bowl, never really had elite defenses, surprisingly enough. Good defensive play caller, widely respected. He's never had a top 10 defense statistically in the NFL in 9 seasons as a defensive coordinator or a head coach. What stands out about his resume? How strong of a candidacy, Ramon, does Raheem Morris have to you?
as strong of a candidacy here as a head coach, I don't think much at all. As far as the staff goes, I think there's something here for him. Looking at Raheem Morris's like pathway to a head coach, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. If you look at his coaching history, full coaching history, he's somewhat catapulted up quick. And I think that was probably one of the things. Also, Raheem Morris has had 2 laps around the sun, too, as a head coach. Not saying that is the end-all, be-all, but a third time as a head coach, I don't know if it's going to be something that's in his future right now. He's relatively young also. He's not even 50 years old yet. So I view him potentially as a staff get. Maybe somebody you on the side of the building, or honestly just to shake the trees and kind of see how he interviews in this process. He's always been employed. That's the thing about him. To me, like I said, I think a lot of these coaches who seek head coaching jobs are better off as lieutenants and not 5-star generals. And I think Raheem Morris at this point is a great support staff guy that you're going to need inside of the building. I'm not minimizing his leadership skills, but his head coaching has not been something that is pointed to say, yes, he's going to take you to the very next level.
What benefit is there to bringing in a candidate that you would prefer to have as a coordinator to interview for your head coach position?
Just see how he manages. And just in case, and we've heard in Coach Matt Nagy saying that he doesn't want to coach play call. Well, you need to see how your coordinators are going to be able to manage that side of the ball. Can they control and command the most out of their guys? That's why.
615-737-1045. We will get to Mike in Cleveland on the phones when we come back. Plus other NFL news, 2 more firings, one a lot more surprising than the other. Coming up next. Wrapping up hour one on Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Aditi Kinkabwala at 7:20. Austin Price in hour three at 8:20, talking balls. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. Mike in Cleveland is up next. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Mike. Mike must have heard, who was it? The trucker that called in earlier and said, hey, was it Ron? Yeah, that's what it was. He taking over your slot in here, Mike. It's the best trucker on the station.
That's crazy.
Joe.
Still gonna do me though. I'm still gonna do me.
Big Joe beat you is all I'm saying now.
Hey man, that's all good. We trucker brothers. That's all.
Okay.
You know, if I can't call,
Trucker brothers.
he gonna call. We gonna blow our horn and we gonna keep this thing pussy. You're welcome. You know. But no man, what's up with y'all? Happy New Year. You feel me?
You as well.
Yeah, dog. Yeah. Hey, Will, I like your public service announcement. Everybody just staying cool and everybody just giving it time.
Thank you.
Keeping our powder dry. I think that needs to be a weekly thing.
Okay.
A weekly statement.
We can do that.
Okay. Nah, you got that, man. That's your job. All right.
I can do that.
He giving you more work to do with.
All right.
I didn't know you turned into Big Boss Mike out here now.
Man, hey, it's time to make a change. You feel me? But,
New year, new me.
Yeah, let me get to my question though. So, real quick, I'm looking forward to Aditi's, her interview when she comes on, because right now it looks like Stefanski is like this year's Vrabel. You know, like outside of Cleveland, it kind of feels like that's the coach that everybody should be eyeing, to hire. And in Cleveland, it's everybody celebrating, like I got a different point of view a little bit because I live here, pay a little bit more attention to the Browns than I did before. And it just kind of seems like I'm not seeing what everybody else is seeing. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to hear why he is so high up on people's lists. But my real question is about the new roles for Brinker and Berganzi, and just pretty much, do other organizations run this way with somebody control of the salary cap while the GM is just control of the roster, the draft, and everything? And could that hinder Berganzi? Hold on, man. Could that hinder Berganzi? Could that hinder Berganzi as far as who he might want to bring in as free agent or anything like that? That's really what I'm wondering. But I'm glad that they finally define what their roles is. Finally.
Sure.
But yeah, man. That's my question, man. Y'all have a good and blessed rest of the day.
You too, man.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate
it. This is how it worked in Pittsburgh for us before Omar Khan took over. To me, this gives Chad Brinker more opportunity to be cool. And what I mean by that is he doesn't have to involve himself with the players, and like he could just sit back and chill and let the GM do his job. The way it worked for us and how I saw these type of roles was Kevin Colbert was our old GM. Kev handled the contracts, evaluation of players, the scouts, coaches, and stuff like that. And Kev, when he came on the field, you feel like, oh, there go Kev. What is he thinking?
Grim Reaper showed up.
Yeah, it's just big boss. Like, that's the guy that's got the microscope on you. But Kevin Colbert was fine. But you knew as far as building a roster, that's Kev's role. Omar Khan was we called Omar the numbers guy. He was the guy that was going to set up, everything in the offseason, the aesthetics of all things, the coaching staff. When it came down to getting the contracts done, Omar was the guy that walked in the room. Hey, here's what we're presenting you with. This is how it all shakes out in the end and stuff like that. And Omar became, to us, the guy I think that was looked at as like he was the substitute. Almost in a sense, but you knew he held a whole lot of power too. Now, what happened was Omar Khan got the ability to grow and learn and probably see and scout guys and understand what you need. And now Omar is the GM in Pittsburgh. He grew. I'm not saying that this gives Chad Brinker time to grow more into like the manager skill of like knowing what to look for as far as building a team. But it seems to me the way it's kind of broken up is, right now, Mike Berganzi knows how to build a team with the players, the coaches, and et cetera on the field. And this gives Chad the business side to say, hey, you specialize in that.
So,
how we're going to make all of this work.
From what I understand, this is a more normal and common setup.
This is normal.
It's kind of the way it works around the league. You have
Very
a
much.
president of football operations who's going to handle the business side of football. You also have a president like Burke Nihill who handles the business side of the organization. And then you have your general manager who is watching film, evaluating prospects, leading your scout team, leading the coaching staff in that process of talking about players and prospects that they like, both in free agency, both in your own roster, in things like that. And you put your heads together with the more business side of the football organization, Chad and his team, to say, all right, what dollars and cents make sense for guys like Chikakonkwo or pending free agents or guys who are not yet in your building and things of that nature.
And
so
the separator
very
could be-
normal setup what the Titans have now.
Is watching how Borgonzi says, like, to your point, you bring up Chig, like, I like Chig, but I want a different version of Chig. Like,
Sure.
that could be the conversation.
Could
you know
be.
what I'm saying? And
Definitely.
just laying that out of what the roles could be.
Yesterday, the Pete Carroll era when the Las Vegas Raiders organization ended after 1 year. If there was ever a coach that deserved going one and done, it felt like this was the situation. 74-year-old Pete Carroll ends his 1 year in Vegas 3-14 with a 14-12 win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Before the game, Vegas had lost 10 straight. They'd already wrapped up the number one selection in the draft before the ball was even kicked in that one. The Raiders are looking for their sixth head coach since 2021. The last coach to be in Vegas for at least 2 seasons is John Gruden, 2018-21. How attractive or unattractive, Ramon, is the Las Vegas Raiders job? Because on one hand, there has been a remarkable amount of instability there. And now you're looking for your sixth coach since 2021. On the other side, you do have some good young players, including Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers on offense.
Mm-hmm. And the offensive line is somewhat decent.
You're about to have Fernando Mendoza probably, too.
And that's the thing. You get a quarterback that you get to walk into. Like, what's Al Davis' son? I forget which
Mark
one.
Davis.
Mark, I don't think is a bad guy. I don't think he's overly intrusive.
He's got a bad haircut.
Oh, my gosh. Yes, he does. But with that being said, I view that job as, it seems to me, it's the same thing that the Titans have kind of had be the problem, too. Like, let the football people do those things. I think Pete Carroll was brought in to somewhat reset what they had going on. I just thought he was too old. I thought it was kind of outdated for them to kind of buy. I ain't gonna say outdated. To fully buy into everything's Geno Smith was, I thought, a little problematic personally with what they had going on. To me, I think they're trying to match their team with the stadium. They're trying to be as competitive as they possibly can to remain entertaining, and they've skipped some steps as far as truly rebuilding. I don't think Pete Carroll was the coach that they absolutely wanted. It's the coach that was presented to them with what they thought would stabilize what they had going on. I mean, the attempts to make them Seattle 2.0 was there. Genty, quarterback, Pete Carroll.
Geno Smith.
I mean, that's what I think they were trying to do. They skipped steps to me, and this is the results of it in the end. The number one overall draft pick going into it. This, in my opinion, yes, is a very attractive job. There's one in particular I don't know is super attractive. Mm-hmm. I think it's Arizona.
Really?
Arizona's just a loss.
See, I think Arizona's more attractive than Vegas.
They got great bones in Arizona, and it's a great city. I just look at it and just say they're lost.
I think Arizona is a better
West.
job because of how close they were in so many games. Maybe that is something I care too much about. They were 2-8 in one-score games this year, Ramon.
What you going to do at quarterback?
It's a good question. It's a great question.
Not that it's the end question, but when we're talking about no coaches.
It's the first question, though.
It's a big one.
For sure.
When you talk about no coach lasting more than 6 years in their history, Kyler's about to reset that again. Then you might get a young quarterback and reset you again.
I think it's a better job because of how close they were in those losses, while Vegas was getting blown out more routinely, for me.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think it's two different ways to go 3-14, personally.
Also, Geno fell off a cliff as far as performance.
Yes, he did. You just look at how the Raiders lost. 41-24 to the Commanders, 40-6 to the Colts, 33-16 to Dallas, 24-10 to Cleveland, 31-14 to the Chargers, 31-0 at Philadelphia, 34-10 to the Giants of all teams. Meanwhile, Arizona had a stretch of games where they were losing on walk-off field goals like back-to-back-to-back weeks. I don't know. Losing is still losing, but I put a little bit of stock, personally, into how some of those losses came for Arizona. But you're right. They have more of a question mark quarterback than Vegas does, because Vegas has Fernando Mendoza.
I think neither state have no state income tax.
Yeah. 615-737-1045, our number. I wouldn't know. I've lived in one state my whole life. Coming up, the Vols have not been super active in terms of transfer portal commitments yet. Is there a concern? Are there problems? And the conversation about quarterback is changing in Knoxville. I'll tell you what I mean by that coming up next.
7:03, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. In Titans news yesterday, Cam Ward received some good news as the AC joint sprain that he suffered in the loss this past Sunday against the Jaguars will not require surgery. The timetable and recovery has not been revealed yet, but good news as the offseason is underway. Also, more head coaching candidates requested for interviews by the Titans yesterday, and Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, and former Falcons head coach Raheem Morris were added to the list. In other NFL news, 2 more head coaching vacancies as the Raiders fired Pete Carroll yesterday after 1 season and finishing the season at 3-14, and they have the number 1 overall draft pick in April. Also, the Cardinals fired Jonathan Gannon after 3 seasons yesterday. The Cardinals finished 3-14 and lost their last 9 consecutive games of the season. Tonight, number 21 Tennessee basketball, they return to the court to face Texas at the Food City Center in Knoxville. They're looking to avoid a second straight loss in SEC play. Tip off at 8 p.m. Central, and you can hear Vol Network's call right here on 104.5 The Zone starting at 7:30. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour number 2 on Ramon and Will starts now. 104.5 The Zone and Zone TV, where you can listen or stream us. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Coming up in 15 minutes, NFL on CBS reporter Aditi Kinkhabwala will join us. Not only is she one of our favorites, she also knows one of the favorites for the Titans head coach position very well. Has covered Kevin Stefanski for CBS broadcasts, for Cleveland Browns preseason television broadcasts, and sent out a tweet yesterday that I thought was very interesting about Stefanski and a potential fit with Cam Ward. So we'll bring her into the discussion on the Titans head coach process coming up here in 15 minutes. Austin Price will talk Vols football with us at 8:20. And Ramon, there is a lot to get to with him because the transfer portal is wide open.
Yes, sir.
We've got names visiting. We've got quarterbacks who may or may not be linked to Tennessee, some in an official capacity, some in a very speculative capacity. Let's start just overall from a broad perspective on Tennessee and the portal so far. Having been strongly linked to a tackle from LSU, having received a commitment from a nickel corner / safety from Kansas State. 1 commitment so far, Ramon.
Yeah.
Are you worried about Tennessee's lack of transfer portal activity so far?
Offensively, no. Defensively, heck yes. I wanted to see more. I want to see more of an attack to go get some premier guys because, again, seeing what the defense was and with a new staff, I'd figured either through, Jim Knowles being as respected as he's supposed to be in college world, they would give him the resources. I'd hope to go get the guys that he want. And with certain guys leaving at edge, or you got to find linebackers that you trust. And then in secondary, you kind of want to see those guys close out. Now, here's what we've also seen from the Vols in years past when it comes down to this type of stuff. Usually the big name guys, I won't say avoid. I don't think anybody knew what Colton Hood was going to be. You're finding guys to fit your system.
And that was a spring edition in Colton Hood, and that window doesn't even exist anymore.
You know what I'm saying? Or like a Jamont McCoy, like these types of guys. But you lost Ricky Gibson. What are you doing at that position on the other side of, Ty Redmond? Those are the questions I want. And here's the other side of it, too. We've heard Coach Jim Knowles is a guy that is going to coach guys that are cerebral and that like to play football. If you're bag chasing, I'm not sure what his mindset is on those type of guys, but I think he has to be in a position that he's trying to establish himself with what he wants the defense to look like, and I'm not sure if that goes to the high-dollar guys at this point. But I did personally, as a fan of the team, I kind of want to see him cooking in the portal right now, man. I do.
Yeah, for me, I don't think it's a red flag. I think it's a yellow flag. If I can put a color to it, or kind of an in-between perspective on it. I do think Tennessee on offense, You would like to get a tackle. It sounds like that's going to happen with Ori Williams, the kid out of LSU. It sounds like they are in a good position for a running back at a Louisiana Lafayette to add into that rotation. I'm not sure you needed a transcendent talent at running back. Hollywood Smothers, the NC State back that Tennessee was linked to, just committed to Alabama yesterday.
Okay.
I'm not sure that was a need as much as it was a little bit of a luxury for Tennessee. I'm interested, though, that they haven't yet brought in a quarterback for a visit. And there is a lot of smoke around Ty Simpson. I don't think there is as much of a grudge between Josh Heupel and maybe Jason Simpson, the head coach at UT Martin, and Ty's dad, as there is made out to be publicly. That seems to be the thinking. Now, I think Ty Simpson's going to the NFL. Chris Lowe said something on his podcast at Rocky Top Insider, The Lowdown, that if Ty Simpson was to not go pro, Tennessee and Oregon would be teams that would make sense for him. He would first have to enter the portal.
Yeah.
He would second, then obviously, well, first he'd have to just not go pro. What is Ty Simpson's pro potential to you right now, Ramon? Do you feel like he is ready? If you were giving him advice, taking the orange-tinted glasses totally off, because obviously we've got a dog in his hunt, the fact that if he doesn't go to the NFL, he may be Tennessee's quarterback next year. Is he ready for the NFL? Is he a first-round quarterback?
After 4 years, I would have thought, I said yes. If he'd have continued to play the way he started the season off, midway
no question,
through,
right.
easily.
He'd be in the running for probably a top 3 pick at that point.
Is he ready? Age-wise, I say yes. As far as draft status, probably no. Because unless the first-round grade come back and I look like a fool. But therefore, a quarterback, he can always strengthen his case. He can say, I've multiple coaches, learned numerous systems, and I go again to somewhere else. What I would say is this. If he's getting a second and third round grade and he feel like he can strengthen it to a first for next year's draft class, he comes back. That's the only measuring stick that I have on it, too. I would, asking myself how he finished this season, I would probably say Ty Simpson is probably a third rounder.
Really?
This isn't a strong quarterback class. It's the only thing that's in his favor.
That's the problem, right?
I don't think he's first round, though.
In that situation, I think maybe Ty Simpson could be back in college. Now, we'll see what advice he gets from
I loved him, though.
agents.
Let me correct this. I loved Ty midway through the season.
Yeah, sure.
I thought it was the hottest quarterback. I thought the Heisman race, I ain't mean to cut you off,
Oh, you're good.
was between him and Mendoza.
Mhm.
Those are my top two.
He was probably the favorite at one
the
point
hottest, I thought.
in October.
Yeah.
To me, he had no help in that run game. I think the NFL will look at him kindly in terms of experience that you mentioned, the arm talent, the mobility in the pocket. I think he's got really good athleticism and ability to throw on the run. Watched a lot of Alabama football this year. I just think that he will be given grace for his decline late in the season, A, for the injuries that team had on the offensive line, and B, for their inability to run the football consistently at all. I think he's gone. I think he's going to the NFL. I think he's a first-round pick.
I don't put him first round this year. I think this is going to be not a meat and potatoes draft, but you'll see wide receivers go. I don't think that probably would, linebackers, and I got him as a second rounder. Now, there's Tyler Shuck. Looks like to be a franchise quarterback at this point.
Is that your evaluation of him or your prediction of where he would go?
It's my evaluation of how he kind of fell off. Now, you mentioned the run game side of it, too. Selfishly, and like I said, I'm very hard on young guys going into the league in a rookie year, too.
Sure.
I would tell him, well, you're supposed to win those games, off your shoulders.
Sure.
It's the way I kind of view
if you're a first-round pick.
If you're a first-round pick. I'm supposed to say. And then also his turnovers and how he was skittish under pressure. Didn't like how that looked at times.
Right.
He was indecisive with the ball and whatnot.
I think he'd crush it in Tennessee's system.
He would, too. And I didn't give that answer also in thoughts of Tennessee. I gave that answer in what I think his professional run would be.
100%. It feels to me like there's been a little bit of buzz about Joey Aguilar as well, and him maybe getting an answer sooner rather than later. Tennessee's lack of activity at quarterback in the portal tells me that I think they believe there's good news coming on Joey Aguilar. That is not me with any kind of inside info. That is purely speculation on my perspective, that the fact that they haven't brought in a quarterback yet tells me that Joey is still an option, or that the second you see someone enter the portal, it might be with a do not contact tag and it's Tennessee. Again, that is I know nothing about that behind the scenes. That is a guess on my part. And there's a lot of guessing that is happening in the quarterback portal market for Tennessee because there's just not a lot of info out there. But what we do know is that they've not had a quarterback on campus as an official visitor, as a transfer portal quarterback yet. To me, that speaks volumes, saying we believe Joey Aguilar is probably going to be back next season. That's just my hunch, that it's Joey, George, and Faison in that room next season. So,
Where was Hypo recruiting at yesterday?
He was in Martin, Tennessee.
Home of
Ty Simpson.
And Graham Simpson.
Apparently that was on the books for a while. That was scheduled for a while to visit with some high schoolers in West Tennessee. Whomst is to say, though, because we are a fan base that's not had planes to track in quite some time, Ramon. For football coaches, we got to have something to do. Coming up, Aditi Kinkhabwala of NFL on CBS joins us talking Kevin Stefanski as a Titans head coaching candidate next.
In today's AI world, you can't even trust your own eyes even more. We have to stop and ask, is this real? Well, you know what is real? Your health and what the experts at Synergex and Low T Center can do to change your life. If you've been suffering from the symptoms of low testosterone, such as constant tiredness, lack of focus, or just feeling off, at Synergex and Low T Center, you can meet with a real provider, not a chat bot on a website where you got to wait for a response. No, you speak to a human being, okay? You can get real medication, never compounded testosterone or hormones. You get real pricing, not a surprise when the bill comes from the website either. You get real results because Synergex and Low T Center are the experts offering superior medication, service, and support, and they've been doing this for over a decade, and that's real, man. It's not just for men, it's also for the ladies too. You suffer from some of the same things that the guys do as well. Listen to me. Get real about your health this year, all right? At Synergex and Low T Center. For a limited time, the men's TRT test is free, and women's hormone test, normally $299, is now $99, and the weight loss consultation is free. Walk in to book an appointment at getmyhealthfix.com.
The best financial move you can make this time of year? How about lowering your mortgage rate to 4.99% fixed APR, the lowest rate in years? How about getting up to $500,000 out of your home equity in the process? You can do it now by calling Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Will Boldig. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get a ton of cash, pay off all those high-interest credit cards, and skip up to 2 house payments. One homeowner just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. Wiped out their credit cards into car loans and saved $2,100 a month. Don't wait. No hard credit pull up front, and you probably won't even need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Act now. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com. Start the new year by wiping out all higher interest debt and lowering your bills by thousands. Call 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Ramona Will continues on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling as the Tennessee Titans coaching search continues, or really in a lot of ways just gets started. We are joined this morning by our good friend Aditi Kinkhabwala, NFL on CBS reporter, talking about Kevin Stefanski as a potential candidate for the Titans. Good morning, Aditi. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Good.
We are
Good morning.
excellent. Aditi, Ramon and I have had either a GM search or a head coach search to talk about every offseason that we have hosted a show together. We'd like for that to change in 2027. And we want to talk about Kevin Stefanski because he is someone that we've talked about with you, is someone that you spoke about on social media yesterday. From your time talking with him, Aditi, where is Kevin Stefanski built for being a head coach in the NFL? Why is he someone that you think deserves another shot at this?
Well, he's a tremendous coach. He's a two-time coach of the year, and that's amidst all sorts of insane chaos. And his very first season when he was coach of the year was the COVID year. So he'd never been a head coach. He couldn't have anyone in the building. And that year, they started the season with a horrific loss to the Ravens. Were absolutely laughed out of the stadium and rebounded to eventually, sorry, Ramon, cover your ears, win a playoff game in Pittsburgh. Ruin, you played in that game, didn't you?
The 2020? No.
Or did you already retired?
I retired. I was at home watching it. Probably had a drink in my hand.
That was the year. That was the year Marquise retired.
Yeah.
Actually, Marquise Pouncey, I'm referring to. So that was the first time he was coach of the year, and then the second time he was coach of the year was when they brought Joe Flacco in off of the couch and rattled off whatever it was, 6 straight wins. Unfortunately, to lose in the playoffs to the Houston Texans. Unfortunately, if you're a Browns fan, but he had a quarterback in Baker Mayfield. Then the organization decided they wanted to bring in Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was going to have to sit for the majority of the year. He prepped Jacoby Brissett, stayed obviously in contention. Then Deshaun Watson comes in. Then there's craziness with all sorts of injuries for Deshaun Watson. You know, everything that went with that. Then there's a situation where they have 4 quarterbacks this spring. Then ultimately they draft 2 rookie quarterbacks. So you're prepping 2 rookie quarterbacks when you've got 2 veterans at the same time, when you've got a defense that you know deserves as good of an offense as you can get. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying there's been a lot of craziness. And through all of the craziness, there was a steady, even level leadership. Now, no coach checks every single box. Kevin Stefanski is not a Bill Parcells. He's not a Sean Payton, who is the type of guy who's going to make everybody run gassers. You don't necessarily need a coach like that if you have strong locker room leadership, if you have strong character in your locker room, if you have guys that are pros, that love the game, that want to play the game, that are committed to the game, where the game is the main thing. We hear that cliche all the time, keeping the main thing the main thing. In his time in Cleveland, not every player that he had, the main thing was not always football. There's obviously a lot of building to still do with the Tennessee roster, but I like Mike Borgonzi's mindset, his philosophy. I feel that the way that he looks at the game of football is very similar to the way that Kevin Stefanski does. I think there will be a lot of good candidates out there. You're asking me, could Kevin Stefanski be a fit?
Sure.
I think that would be a nice fit. And I really think that he and Cam Ward would be a great personality fit. And I'll tell you why, because they're both really, really smart and they're both really, really committed to getting the job done. I don't know Cam as well as the two of you know Cam, but in my time with him, I think he's highly intelligent. I think he's highly committed. I think that he's shown a great desire to grow and develop a commitment to be the best that he can be, a commitment to be the best, whether that is or whether that's how it ends up or not. He is driven to do that. And I believe in my interactions with him that football really comes first.
100%.
My 6-year-old is asking me when I can put pink chalk in her hair right now.
That's a good question.
Apparently, it's not enough to talk about Cam Ward and Kevin Stefanski.
That was my next question on my list anyway. So.
Yeah. Was it? Anyway, I apologize for that.
You're good.
No, you know what? It's like, so there's a demeanor. A great coach is going to coach whoever he has, and he's going to make it work with whoever he can make it work with, and any rumors, I almost feel like gross saying this, but there's been a lot of nonsense that Kevin Stefanski can't get along with people. That's I'm sorry, I can't say it. I can't say it on the radio what that is, but that is what what it is.
Yeah.
It's completely untrue. It's really sad that a good man has been tagged, has been maligned like this, has been, quite frankly, slandered like this. That's nonsense. I'm sorry. You don't get this far into coaching if I don't even want to say it. I'm not going to say it.
Sure.
But he can get along with all different personality types. But what I really like about this idea of Kevin Stefanski as Cam Ward is, again, I just think that there's a focus, a commitment, a drive that's very, very similar. And I think that their demeanors, Cam's got a little edge to him, but in a great way. Not necessarily, and I love Baker, but he's not Baker, but he's still got some edge. And I think it's an edge that Kevin would really, really, really appreciate. And Kevin's got a little bit of edge too. You don't see it, but he does.
NFL CBS reporter Didi Kinkabwala, our guest. And Didi, I wanted to ask about Baker because I do feel like a lot is made about the 1 year with Baker Mayfield, the relationship there, and then a very public split, not just with Stefanski, but just with the organization and the success that Baker Mayfield had to take some time, but eventually had in Tampa Bay after a couple stops and putting his hand in the dirt as a practice squad defensive end in Carolina, and that story that's well documented. What do you think that relationship was like, Aditi, between Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield?
I mean, Kevin was on the record saying that he would, before they started this whole Deshaun Watson dalliance, that he would be very happy to continue with Baker. And if you remember, when there was, I don't know if you remember, I don't know if it was as big news down in Tennessee, but Odell Beckham's dad was very upset that
Yes.
Odell wasn't getting the ball more. And the reality is that Kevin was running a rhythm and timing offense. And that means that you throw to a spot. And Odell might look open on the field, but he wasn't necessarily open in the spot at the point when he was supposed to be in that particular point. And Odell was told, there was a lot of sort of drama, and he was told to stay home from the building. And at the time, there was never in the locker room a team Odell, a team Baker, or anything like that. But clearly, the organization felt that the quarterback was not antagonizing the wide receiver, or the quarterback wasn't failing to get the ball to the wide receiver. The quarterback was doing his job. But Baker himself will tell you, and I've had this conversation with Baker multiple times over the last few years, that had he stayed in Cleveland, he may not be the same person and the same player that he is today. Sometimes you have to hit bottom to grow up a bit. And the Baker that you see today, the maturation in that Baker is completely different than what we saw in those early years in Cleveland. And he'll tell it to you. You don't have to trust me. He said it to me many times. He's on the record having said it, I believe, to other people. You can call him on. He will tell you that. He needed to hit bottom in Carolina. He found a new love for the game in LA. And then he went to Tampa, and everybody in Tampa said, you just be you. And that wasn't the situation in Cleveland. And that's not from Kevin. But there were people in Cleveland who wanted Baker to kind of tone down some of what makes Baker Baker. And come on, we've all been different places. There are different fits. Like, some bosses really appreciate you, and they take all the good with the bad. Some ask you to be somebody different that you're not. So, but that's not fair to say that Kevin couldn't get the best out of Baker, or that Kevin fractured with Baker. And I think that even, I don't know. We've all left places where you kind of tag the whole place with your frustration and your bitterness and your anger. But when time has passed, you realize, you know what? It wasn't everybody in that place. Mm-hmm. It really was kind of person X, Y, but person D was okay, or actually didn't treat me badly. So I wouldn't, that's not a negative. But again, I would very honestly say that if Kevin Stefanski, wherever it is that Kevin Stefanski is hired, because I really, truly do expect that one of these openings, one of these teams will choose him. I hope that there's someone there who helps with being the heavy, with making sure that there's a level of accountability. But I've always found, and Ramon, you can quibble with me on this one, but in 16 years of covering the NFL, I've always found that the best teams have locker room accountability, have player accountability, meaning that the guys that are next, you're playing for the guys next to you, and the guys next to you demand a certain level of professionalism, effort, whatever. It can't only always come from the coach. Right, Ramon?
Right. No, seriously. Aditi,
and he never had that. I'll just say that Kevin never had that in Cleveland.
Right. Let's go there because it's appropriate that we do. This year in particular, you hit the Baker question. I said I was going to have for you, and I want to ask the question about these three guys right here. It's Deshaun, it's Dylan Gabriel, and it's Shedeur, as I hear a lot of people call him these days. Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski's ability or inability to relate to, let's say, a young quarterback. And Aditi, I'll just peel the layers back a little bit too. The idea of a black quarterback, and Cam and Shedeur very, very much alike. They train, they talk, I'm sure. They compete against one another.
See, can I disagree?
No.
I don't think that they're alike.
I know. Well, okay, that part. What I'm getting at is his ability to coach guys that have personalities like Shedeur or like Cam was a big topic on social media. Some people reported upon as if Coach Stefanski was holding back Shedeur Sanders, and he should have been playing over Dylan Gabriel. Aditi, you were close to this crime scene all year long. How did this unfold with Shedeur playing, not playing, Dylan Gabriel, and also Deshaun Watson? Is that just a separate entity aside from the field?
Okay. So this idea, it's so... It really makes me sick, Ramon. Ramon, you and I have different ethnicities. Did we ever have a problem in the locker room?
Never.
Ever?
No.
Did you ever see me have a difficulty talking to Marquise Pouncey no, that's not it. And in fact, Kevin Stefanski went out of his way to make sure that Shedeur Sanders had extra development every single week when he was not active. Every single Friday and Monday, Shedeur Sanders had an extra individual session after practice just to be able to do everything that he wasn't getting a chance to when there were two other quarterbacks on the roster in front of him. If he was running scout team, then he was getting all of the regular offensive reps as well. He was getting individual instruction. When he became the starter, Kevin, even though he wasn't the OC or the play caller, was spending individual time with him on a regular basis to just try to accelerate the growth and the development. Every rookie quarterback needs to grow. Every rookie quarterback needs to develop. This is not only about Shedeur Sanders. I just had the Packers and the Vikings. And this is the conversation we had with Kevin O'Connell about J.J. McCarthy. And even though J.J. McCarthy was supposed to be more pro-ready than the average rookie quarterback because he'd been under center, because he'd huddled at Michigan, NFL defenses, NFL coverages are completely different. Windows close faster. J.J. McCarthy openly talked to us about learning how to throw a guy open as opposed to waiting for a guy to get open. These are the things asked of a quarterback in the National Football League are so much more than what you see sitting on your couch. And Shedeur Sanders did not run an extremely sophisticated offense while he was in college. So everybody going back to the combine expected that there was going to be some development necessary. There's a reason he was drafted in the 5th round. The Browns did the best that they could to prepare him while also trying to prepare the rest of the team to win. And that was extra time. And look, he has gotten, to his credit, from the minute that he has been in there, Sanders has gotten better. And he's got great moxie. And he's very competitive. And we said this from the beginning, from the very first preseason game I did with him down in Charlotte. You like his demeanor. You like his energy. I thought in that game, I remember he came out and he was disappointed by a few throws. And I was like, hey, don't be so hard on yourself. I think that this is a young man who will continue to get better. And in saying that, it's not an indictment of him in any way. Saying that a young player needs to get better, that's not saying something negative about a player. Every young player needs to get better. Every player, even when you're in year 6, year 7, you need to get better. Mm-hmm. That's the mark of greatness, right? And as for Deshaun Watson, I have no idea. You know, he says he's healthy. When the last time I talked to him, he said he was healthy. He felt better. You know, obviously his window opened. He wasn't activated, but is he going to get a real chance out there to compete? Will he be? And that's anybody's guess. I'm done predicting the Deshaun Watson market. I'm sorry, but
understandably so.
That's been a few years of sometimes we have to throw up our hands and say, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Didi Kinkabala, NFL on CBS, our guest. Didi, we appreciate you as always and your perspective. And I know you've met with and talked with so many coaches that are candidates. Whenever this hire is made, I'm sure we'll be calling you back up to talk about whoever the hire is. Because yes, you've got great perspective on Kevin Stefanski, but you know everyone in this league, considering you spent 16 years in it. To your point, I know you've got a busy schedule. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thank you, breathe.
All right.
All right. Thank you,
Did I sound stressed? Did I sound stressed, Ramon? I'm sorry.
The entire conversation is stress, I think.
It is for us as well.
Well, it's hard. You know what? I'll just say this. I know you're saying bye. It's hard when there are these extra layers added on, these extra, and that are just not true. And how do you combat that? When certain people feel that they want to assign a negative trait or a negative value. And Ramon, well, I'll just say this quickly. Ramon knows that I personally get it a lot too. And you can't, how do you debunk the lie? I don't know.
It's a great question.
When it's a feeling, right? It's not about a fact. It's you're saying someone feels something that they don't. Right. It is frustrating.
Twitter's a crazy place.
But I was stressed because, yes, it is. But it was busy because I'm making breakfast and lunch. So that's why.
I love it.
Packing school lunches and putting hair chalk in the 6-year-old's hair.
Busy as always. No off season for Didi Kinkabala. That's for sure. Thank you, Didi. Appreciate the time.
Appreciate it.
All right. Yep. There's Didi Kinkabala, NFL on CBS, here with us this morning. Let's react to that when we come back. And I want to talk more with you about your opinion of Kevin Stefanski. And again, for those listening or for those who do or don't like Stefanski, we will have people on over the next few weeks who can give that kind of perspective on a number of candidates. So we won't just spend time on Stefanski. It's just kind of where we started because he got fired yesterday. And Aditi sent out a tweet about him being a fit for Cam Ward that I thought was interesting. And that's where we started this. But you said yesterday, and you've been on the record with this for months now, that Stefanski is either at or near the top of your list. I want to talk more about why. Coming up next, Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone. Ramona Will continues, wrapping up hour number 2 on this Tuesday morning. 615-737-1045. How you jump in. Want to talk more about Kevin Stefanski as a Titans head coach candidate and why Ramon has him at the top of his list. But first, let's catch up on a phone call, shall we? Marcus is in Nashville, been waiting to chime in on coaching options and candidates and all of these things. What's up, Marcus?
Morning, Marcus.
Thank you, Jesus, for letting me get on this call. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know who y'all had on the line a while ago, but all that stuff she was saying, he didn't come from a great, where he came from, where he played with. Talk about Shedeur Sanders. But I'm just saying this, man. We don't need nobody here that's already got problems, man. That's our problem. We always grabbing low-hanging fruit. We need to get somebody real out here. Kevin Stefanski, dude, is the reason why he keep on having the same problem with the same type person. Because he's that type person. There ain't no excuses for it.
So, Marcus, who is real then out there? Like, who's the candidate with no problems attached to him for you?
Well, no, I mean, we can't get somebody that's going to suit the NFL, but I think that dude would be great. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Brian Flores.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, he's better than Stefanski.
Yeah.
Whatever that dude's name is. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, if this dude keep having the same type of problem with the same type of kids, with the same color, there's a reason why.
So no to Stefanski, Nagy, and McCarthy?
No. I think we need to go to full, man. I'm telling you.
Okay.
How many people you know get fired from their job and went to the playoffs?
Mike Vrabel.
They a real person, man.
Vrabel.
And Mike Vrabel just got fired, and he's the 2 seed in the AFC.
Sean Payton.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel got fired from where?
From here, Tennessee.
Oh, well, but that was after the year that we did go to playoffs. And it seems like everybody leaving do better anyway. So, I don't, you know what I'm saying? We got to change. We talk about culture. We got to change our culture right now, man.
Thank you for the call, Marcus. We appreciate the call. Where did this idea come from that Kevin Stefanski?
I'll say it as a racist. Yeah, I'll say it.
There's no race thing with Kevin Stefanski and Shedeur Sanders.
No, I don't think so. I would highly doubt that would be the case. I think it's the. I said this at the beginning of it. Like, speaking about Shedeur projection coming out of college as being a first rounder is where it started. Where he was drafted at, I'm not sure if seeing somebody go from 1st to 5th, I don't know if I've ever seen it drop that far. I've seen somebody go from 1st to 2nd or, top 10 to in the 20s like Aaron Rodgers. Like even Laramie Tunsil, right? He didn't drop too far and he was smoking weed. There was an image of him with a weed mask on. Like, you don't drop from 1st to 5th. Like, myself, I think I had like a 4th to 5th round grade. I went undrafted. Like, that's an appropriate skill. Like, I don't see that being the case. So the Shedeur thing was, I guess, there's so much that I know about the Shedeur interaction in the building that I refuse to say on air like that. It wasn't the inability of him or the dislike of the color of his skin, not even at all.
We know what's on the record that's been reported, that the meetings in the interview process in the draft torpedoed his draft stock. The NFL did not collude to ruin Shedeur Sanders' career, or there's not a race. Like, the guy earned loudly and unequivocally from 32 NFL teams where he was picked. And that's just the real, like, this idea. Why do we all lose our collective minds when we say the words Shedeur and Sanders back to back? Why can we not talk about Shedeur Sanders like adults?
Yeah, if his last name was Smith, I personally don't understand it. The game is this. If you have a product that's serviceable and that you can use to win, you'll play. There's no way to get around that side of it. Like, it's hard. I'll be honest with y'all having this conversation because I will say this. It's not many times the conversation of race has kind of played into the sport that I've played. Like, I know there was a connotation back in the 60s and 70s about black quarterbacks and stuff like that, but the majority of the quarterbacks are coming out breaking that stereotype in general. They're black and they're mobile. Like, so that conversation of can a guy play or not isn't a thing. Here's the thing about Shadour's athletic ability. Like, if he had Deion Sanders' speed, I think it'd be a different conversation about where he would have been drafted at, too. I don't think looking at Stefanski and Shadour's relationship was about him not liking him. I think Shadour did have a lot of growth. That system that he played in Colorado, as Aditi said, too, like, it was a lot of freestyling and his ability to break down defenses and make plays down the field, though, too. And in a situation where, I mean, they were teetering at 500 as a team. Like, we're having a conversation right now about Ty Simpson. Like, can Ty Simpson, go and be a first rounder with the season he had is based purely off of product. Or there's another minority quarterback that would probably be the first overall quarterback, too, Mendoza,
right,
essentially, and also Dante Moore, both. The two top quarterbacks, minorities. I know, Mendoza's more fair-skinned, but he's not Caucasian is my point, is what I'm getting across, right? So this is, I didn't know getting intel and having a conversation about Stefanski was going to leave us here to having, will he be able to manage Cam Ward?
It's complete nonsense to me that it's even being brought up, that Kevin Stefanski can't work with a quote-unquote certain kind of quarterback. Give me a break. Come on, man. Like, I appreciate you, Marcus. I'm not trying to go at you personally. It's the whole social media idea out there that we just had Aditi on and addressed with her that she says, as someone who knows all the parties involved, is complete and utter words she can't say on the radio. 3HL calls it Shiano. Anyway, we were going to talk about your own view on Stefanski. Obviously, you being someone that was in the AFC North for 11 years and watches this division closely and watches Cleveland and Pittsburgh and all these teams and all 32 teams, to give you your full credit you deserve as well. Why is Kevin Stefanski a prime candidate in your eyes?
Being able to manage what Cleveland presented. I think that's first and foremost. When it was good, it was really good. When it was bad, I think it's organizational interference. I think managing and balancing Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson and the multitude of other quarterbacks. I think when you have Andrew Berry as a GM also, trading for Joe Flacco and intervening him into your offense and stuff like that, and then you present itself with him also trading away Joe Flacco. Like, more than anything, I think a stable organization. Borgonzi and Chad Brinker and Miss Amy Adams-Strunk have all kind of aligned themselves and saying we're getting on the right track together. I think when you have coaches that have kind of proven themselves into having winning seasons or growth as a coach, you should give that opportunity. The issue that we'll have this offseason into watching this coaching carousel of who will be hired, it's nobody's favorite. Nagy's nobody's favorite. McCarthy's nobody's favorite. Stefanski's not. Raheem Morris is not.
Yeah.
None of them are. And then you got to also look at, it's been, NFL reporters said it looks like it looked like Mike Borgonzi is teetering towards an experienced head coach, somebody that has previous coaching experience.
Done it before.
Well,
right.
Guess what? All of these guys on this candidate list are failures and have failed. So was Andy Reid. So was Sean Payton. There's a multitude of coaches out there that have failed and found success. I almost feel like at this point, I feel like it's the Liam Cohen. It was so weird with what he did and how he took that job in Jacksonville that it's got to work.
If there was a perfect candidate out there, they'd already be a head coach. There's no perfect candidate. 615-737-1045. Ian Rappaport has details on 2 Titans interview subjects and when they will talk to the Titans. One of them is Kevin Stefanski. I'll tell you who the other one is and what the Titans' schedule of interviews is, as we know on the record so far, after this. Selling a home can feel simple until the unexpected happens. For Brian, that moment came during the home inspection when surprise repairs threatened to slow everything down. That's what Bernie Gallerani Real Estate really proved their worth. Hey, what's going on? It's Will Bowling for my good friend Bernie Gallerani. With clear communication, constant availability, and a smart plan of action, Bernie Gallerani's team guided Brian through every decision and kept the process moving forward. His home sold above asking price and stayed on track, all while he successfully purchased a new home at the same time. When challenges pop up, you need a real estate team that knows how to pivot and deliver results. If you're buying, selling, or doing both, call Bernie Gallerani Real Estate today at 615-428-2644. Get those results. Get a local agent who knows the market and get the 30-day guarantee. Bernie Gallerani is the real estate agent with the 30-day guarantee. He guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. You can check him out online at BernieGallerani.com or call him at 615-428-2644. It's my good friend Bernie Gallerani of Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, online at BernieGallerani.com. January is a time to clean and purge. I was doing it over the weekend. Maybe you were as well. Maybe you realize you need more than just what you can handle. I want to tell you about Zero Res because they're going to make your home feel brand new. They have the great technology of ZR water, and the science behind it is much healthier than using soaps and detergents. What you or I are just going to do around your home, I'm telling you, Zero Res has a smarter, lasting clean. No harsh chemicals, no soap residue, faster dry times, and things are going to stay cleaner longer. You're going to get insanely clean carpets with Zero Res. No one can clean like Zero Res because only Zero Res cleans with ZR water. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, which means pure safety for your family and pets. Zero Res is 98% recommended. The Facebook reviews, the Google reviews, they're unbelievable. Over 4,800 of them. You can book online at ZeroResNashville.com. Call them 615-535-9376. That's Zero Res. Spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. Call them now, 615-535-9376. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning.
8:03, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. Good news for the Titans rookie quarterback Cam Ward yesterday as the AC joint that he suffered in the loss against the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday will not require surgery to this point. The timetable and recovery has yet to be revealed, but good news as the offseason is now underway. Also, we now have interview dates for a couple of the Titans head coaching candidates per Ian Rappaport this morning. Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo will meet with the team tomorrow, and former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski will meet with the team on Saturday. Some college transfer portal news this morning as the quarterback carousel is officially underway. Former Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons is transferring to Missouri. Former Auburn quarterback Ashton Daniels is transferring to Florida State. And former USF quarterback Byron Brown is transferring to Auburn, reuniting him with head coach Alex Golesh, and he'll be one of the highest paid players next season per Pete Thamel. Tonight, number 21 Tennessee basketball, they return to the court to face Texas at the Food City Center in Knoxville, looking to avoid a second straight loss in SEC play. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. Central, and you can, of course, hear Vault Network's call right here on 104.5 The Zone at 7:30. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone into the second half on this Tuesday morning edition. There is a ton to cover in the transfer portal for Tennessee football, and Austin Price will join us to do exactly that in 15 minutes. VolQuest, the very best source to discuss all of the visitors, all of the quarterback options, Joey Aguilar's case for another year of eligibility, Ty Simpson, ? Being linked to Tennessee. Austin will handle it all with us. Coming up here in 15 minutes. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins is our producer as we take a deep breath into hour number 3.
There will be a riot. I saw our listeners and YouTube chat kind of bring up riot. You know, if certain coaches were being hired and stuff like that. I think there will be a riot if Stefanski will be if he was seriously considered and hired here in Tennessee. And that's why I think it will work. I will say I thought the Callahan spin was a perfect one that most were behind him and excited about it, and it crashed and failed. It did. I think this will be so bad that it'll be great in the end. So what I've gathered, no to Nagy, unsure but possibly no on McCarthy, no, matter of fact, hell no on Stefanski.
I haven't gotten that vibe. I think there's a lot of people that like Stefanski too.
Oh, hell no on him. Ruben Bain Jr., short arms, don't want him. Not coach? A good no, just in draft class. I know, head coach too. Short arms, don't want him as a prospect. What else am I missing that we've kind of, 2 days into the offseason, they've kind of just,
Is this on Twitter you're seeing this? Is this F&M Bank chat? Is this
a combination of all of it? Combination of all of it.
This is where we have to remind ourselves, and I say ourselves because I'm telling myself too, Twitter is not real life.
No,
I think Kevin Stefanski would be pretty well received for the candidates that are on the table. I don't know. I mean, honestly, at this point, how much should they care how hires are going to be received? The Titans.
They shouldn't at all.
Yeah.
I personally don't think Mike Borgonzi give a you-know-what about what anybody thinks when it comes to outside the building.
I don't think we're going to have a Shiano Sunday situation.
Oh, yeah,
Kevin
we
getting
that.
No, I don't
We
think
getting that.
I don't think so.
Oh, we getting that, Will. Listen to me. You got a popcorn machine at home or microwave?
I've got a microwave.
Make some on top of the stove. I want you to go the old school way. We're going to have a riot, my dog.
All right. Well, Ian Rappaport says 20 minutes ago on Twitter at RapSheet, the Titans have an early interview plan for their vacant head coach position. Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo speaks with them tomorrow.
Lou trash, too.
Former Browns coach Kevin Stefanski will talk with the Titans on Saturday.
Yeah.
There you go.
Lou Anarumo, trash too. What is he proving? He's just a defensive guy.
All right, to your point about social media reaction to Kevin Stefanski, we ran a Twitter poll yesterday that just closed, opened it for 24 hours. 470 of you voted on this at Ramon and Will. We asked, Kevin Stefanski just got fired by the Browns. The Titans hiring him would be a good move, bad move, or no strong opinion. Good move was the top answer, 55%. The second best answer was 26% saying no strong opinion. Only 20% of our audience who voted on this said hiring Kevin Stefanski would be a bad move.
Only 20%?
I think his detractors are very loud.
Okay. All right.
You don't believe me, but I think that
I don't believe you.
It is a small group of fans. And look, I think there are also a couple of schools of thought of why people don't like Kevin Stefanski. If you've got doubts about Kevin Stefanski because of his inability to manage that offense this season or consistent success, like, we could have a legitimate dialogue about Kevin Stefanski where you don't have to love Kevin Stefanski. He's not a total slam dunk candidate. No one is a total slam dunk candidate. Otherwise, they'd probably already be a head coach. But if you don't like Kevin Stefanski because you feel like he can't work with a, quote, certain type of quarterback and think that he discriminated against Shedeur Sanders, then that's a totally different discussion, and I think that's nonsense. I think that opinion is nonsensical. So we got to separate the two.
We do.
Is there legitimate criticism of Kevin Stefanski? Absolutely. If you want to make this a race thing, I don't even want to touch that because I think that's far from the realm of what is actually fair game to talk about. I think that is such nonsense that it's not even really worth any more of our time.
If that's the case, then he damn sure ain't gonna do good with Jeff. And if Arden's around,
it's just it's
or
nonsense.
JC Latham,
we got to call it for what it is. It's total nonsense.
or Tajay.
Yeah, no, total nonsense. Cam Ward yesterday says he has a.
By the way, I learned our poll sucked too. Just so you know, we need to fire the poll we did yesterday.
Who said that?
We bought likes for that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot. That's my New Year's resolution. Buy more likes and buy more votes on Twitter. What are we doing? Anyway, Cam Ward has a sprained AC joint in his right shoulder. Said yesterday he does not need surgery as of now.
Good news for him. No, legitimately, the pathway to being a rookie, man, is a year and some change of nonstop work, grind, mental, just grind is what it is. And to remove having surgery going into your first offseason, man, gives you honestly enough time to grow as a pro. That was the one thing I learned from going from year one to year two. I was drinking through a fire hose as a rookie, man, trying to learn the plays, trying to play well, trying to make sure I stay on a roster. In that second year, I kind of breathed a little bit. I honestly understood the playbook a little bit more. And the issue for Cam, if he did have to have a surgery, is the new incorporation of an offense as the franchise player. And that's where if he is just a rehab candidate, then you remove the idea that Cam's playing catch up in training camp. That's the issue of him having a surgery if he does have to have one is whoever the new head coach and offensive coordinator and quarterback coach is going to be, would be behind the eight ball as far as Cam development. And I know he and every other quarterback in the league that have to deal with these types of things say, well, I'm getting my mental reps. Mental reps do nothing for you as far as timing, understanding of the plays, making mistakes and growing from those mistakes if he does have to have a surgery and won't throw a football into training camp. I'm hoping for his sake and career and the new head coach, he doesn't have to have a surgery.
Yeah. Scooby tweets at us and says, just don't believe Stefanski is a leader of men. I'd love to know why.
You got to give us context, Scoob.
What makes someone a leader of men?
Heck, I thought Callahan was.
I'm always curious on that phrase.
That and alpha. Those are the two that get me.
Right.
Using them two right there, you got to tell me how. If you ever use alpha, that's alpha. Tell me how. And if leader of men, what does it look like?
Yeah. I don't know. There is another former head coach that just became available. Matt Eberflus just got fired by the Dallas Cowboys as defensive coordinator.
As DC?
Mm-hmm. Cowboys will now be going on their fourth different defensive coordinator in 4 seasons.
Bring them in.
Coming up.
Don't laugh at me, man. Don't do that.
No, I'm not laughing at you.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying, like, I'm just in that space. They've taken me to a dark place, man, and I'm ready to live in the shadows.
Let's lighten you up then.
I like this. I'm gonna be real with you.
I merely adopted the darkness. You were born in it.
No,
is what
I
you're telling
like
me.
this.
Let's talk to Austin Price of AllQuest about Tennessee and the transfer portal coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster here for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, I tell you guys all the time, nobody wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or an electrical emergency. Well, let me tell you about my HVAC emergency / electrical that I had over the Christmas break. Here I was changing thermostats out in my house. I'm using a smart one, man, one of those ones that learns you and stuff like that. And I actually did a few of them in my house. And I get to the last one. I installed this one in my bonus room. I'm like, yeah, I did it. Well, except my heat was blowing cold air. This is my testimony, okay? I immediately got on the phone, called Hiller, and they set an appointment for me. They were over quickly to my house to kind of set me up and said, pretty much, Mr. Foster, you should leave these things to us, okay? Because this thermostat right here uses a heat pump, and you got to put this cord over here in this spot. Basically, I messed it up. And I'm here to tell you this, man. Their techs, they were really good. They got me right. Now my bonus room has heat in it, and I will call them for those electrical and HVAC issues. Look, if you're like me and you're trying to play handyman around the house and somebody got to come back and fix it for you, well, Hiller's the company to do it, whether that be your plumbing, your HVAC, or anything electrical around your house, man. Simply put, they're good. To learn more about them or book with them the way I do, you can do what I did, man. Go to happyhiller.com.
When the glass breaks, we get the very latest on Rocky Top from our good friend Austin Price of VolQuest. Big visit today with the transfer portal wide open. We've got Tennessee hosting elite prospects. Austin Price and VolQuest, they're talking to all of them. You just said at VolQuest.com, they're talking with Chaz Coleman. They're talking with Xavier Gillum, Jaquez White. They got different visitors that are probably there today. They'll talk to, they got everything. Austin, we appreciate you making time for us this morning. How are you managing all the chaos, Austin, of this week? It's been something, hasn't it?
It certainly has, guys. It's, and you factor in the last few weeks when the changes on defense and then the new defensive staff and now, the transfer portal, man, it's a thrill a minute. And, the phone doesn't stop ringing, except for when I have time to take 10, 15 minutes to talk to you guys. And even then, I'll probably miss 3 or 4 calls. So let's knock it out.
I knew things, Austin, were especially hot when I saw last night the VolQuest Monday Night Chat was at 14 pages. Have we gotten to 14 pages before? Is this a record, you think?
No, I don't think it's a record. But, I mean, it's certainly a lot, right? I mean, people want to get their question answered, and a lot of times there's a lot of duplicate questions. But I mean, there's a lot of interest right now just because of the portal, and then they recognize this being such a big year for Josh Heupel, especially with the defensive staff change.
Well, Austin, let's just start from the broad perspective as we get into some of these names, some of whom have committed, some of whom have committed elsewhere, and quarterback and all these things. How active is Tennessee going to continue to be? How do you think this staff has addressed their needs so far? How many needs are still out there in your mind?
Oh, they've not addressed. I mean, they got one commit. So, I mean, they haven't addressed their needs at all to this point. They've had some visitors. They've got to land some guys, and they got to land guys at safety, got to land guys at corner, and at least one linebacker. Need defensive lineman, interior, and some edge help. And so this defense is going to have a totally new look to it next year. Now, linebacker is the one spot where you feel like, okay, they've got some stability there, so to speak. But it's a thrill a minute, and so they're going to have to add some key pieces. Obviously, they got to find a quarterback on the offensive side of the ball, and a running back to help out Deshaun Bishop, and outside that on offense, maybe an offensive lineman. We'll see where they get things to Ori Williams. I think that one continues to trend hard for Tennessee. Wouldn't be surprised if you saw some news later today.
Joined by Austin Price of VolQuest on 3. Just staying on the defensive side real quick, Austin, how will they end up using a guy like Quay Moss that they have committed right now out of the portal?
Well, they're going to use him in nickel, maybe playing a little bit at corner, kind of like they did Jalen McMurray, and he'll probably slide right into that role. Obviously they pinpointed him early. They got him here first, and he committed. That's the one thing they've got to do a better job of getting kids here first. I mean, when you don't get the kid here first, you run the risk of losing out on those players because they end up somewhere else first. And schools, not named Tennessee, have certainly done a pretty good job of getting kids to shut things down and putting the squeeze on them, and that puts Tennessee in a tough spot. So Tennessee's got to be better at getting kids here first, and they got to be better at getting kids to shut things down when they do take a visit.
With that being the case, then how has Tennessee tried to address this quarterback situation, man? And do you see them having anybody on campus moving forward with, the 2 young guys that are on scholarship right now inside of the program?
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of hope and belief in George McIntyre and Faison Brandon. But does it help to have a veteran guy going into the first year of a 9-game SEC schedule with a juggernaut schedule at home? Yeah, no doubt it would. And, that there's obviously, at least some optimism. We'll see that Joey Aguilar could find out the potential for an extra year in, the coming days. Again, you're at the mercy of a judge, the mercy of the court. And so that could come down as early as today. It may not come down for who knows how many weeks. I mean, again, there's optimism there that something will come down. That doesn't mean something is imminent. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, if Joey were to win an extra year of eligibility, then I think Tennessee would certainly, take a hard look at that route because you know what you have in Joey Aguilar if he wants to return.
Austin Price of AllQuest and on 3, our guest. Austin, the smoke, the Twitter discussion, the message boards have been hot talking about Ty Simpson, who has not yet announced his decision on the NFL draft. Obviously is from Martin, Tennessee at Westview High School. Is Tennessee a realistic landing spot at this point, Austin, for Ty Simpson?
Well, right now he's the quarterback at Alabama who's not in the portal. But if he decided to not turn pro and he decided to enter the portal, much like Carson Beck did a year ago, then yes, he would be a very realistic option for Josh Heupel in Tennessee. And that's kind of where it's at. I know Josh Heupel took a trip over yesterday to Martin Westview to recruit. That was on the books for a long time before he took this visit. I know that's hard for the Grassy Knoll group to understand, but that's the facts. And for the people that struggle with the fact that, he had portal visitors in, he was over there early in the morning. He was back in the office by late morning. He doesn't go station to station like fourth graders, with these players. He has set times. He meets with these players in his office with their families individually. He goes to dinner with them. Nothing really hampered yesterday by going out and doing a little bit of high school recruiting, which he has, again, done from time to time. And Tennessee coaches are allowed to do that during the month of January. So they're balancing being out on the road versus being in town for visits. So, a lot of your defensive staff, they're all in town because they tried to bring in so many guys. Whereas like a guy like Kelsey Pope, you're not taking a receiver out of the portal. He can be out there and working things, from the recruiting standpoint.
Austin Price of VolQuest with us. Austin, you've got a piece at VolQuest.com this morning with Penn State defensive lineman Chaz Coleman, one of the top players that Tennessee is swinging at, along with the likes of Ohio State and LSU. How big of an impression did Tennessee make, and where do you think the Vols stand with him?
Yeah, I think Tennessee's in it. He's going to go to Ohio State. Again, when kids leave your campus, the chances of getting them, to me, dwindle. That doesn't mean that they can't. They absolutely can still pick Tennessee or any school that they leave, but you just run the risk of, something happening at the next stop along the way. And so he'll go to Ohio State. That's his home state school. That's where everybody's had him pegged for this entire time. You talk to a few people around him, they're not as, locked in on that notion as others are. But, there's a reason that, people at Penn State said that, it's been thought that he was going to go there since the month of November. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
No doubt about it. Austin, when you look at a guy like Jaquez White, who you talked to yesterday as well, where would he fit in this defense? Is he the type and style that Coach Knowles is wanting to kind of build upon and set a template for years moving forward?
Yeah, big physical corner. He's a big kid, really impressive looking kid, and would be a corner in this defense for Jim Knowles and Mike Hunter, the new cornerbacks coach. So, again, Tennessee's trying to remake the secondary outside of Ty Redmond, and we'll see what happens as they continue to build on this.
Also, one thing I will say is this recruiting class this year, this 2025 class, I think is what it is. Yeah, there's a lot of six. Yeah, there's a lot of defense that's in this class. You think they'll try to rely heavy on those guys too, or like you said, the non-home games, man? That's a lot of youth that you're putting out there. Although this has been Coach Heupel's, calling card is to kind of put those guys out there and let them grow quick. Ethan Utley being one of those guys, Ty Redmond, that's been the trend with what's going on, especially with as high caliber as some of these guys are in this recruiting class.
Well, you want to see those players, the Ethan Utleys, the Ty Redmonds, the Jaden Pilates, continue to grow by leaps and bounds this offseason, Ramon.
Yeah.
And then you want to sprinkle in some of these transfers that are older, experienced guys. And if that happens, then you might, could have the right potion to kind of flip the defense from being ranked in the 80s and 90s to, improving that, cutting it in half or even better than that.
No doubt. The rumors are they're going to go to more of a bigger defensive end type. Do you think you might see some guys move outside? And one in particular I think of, man, is, if Jordan Ross doesn't hop in the portal, does he add more bulk to him? I know he's already a bigger athlete than himself. Do you see a guy like, I just mentioned him, a young fella, and like Ethan Utley go from more of an interior guy to an edge-setting guy? Is that the style that you kind of see them moving towards?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're looking at, Tyree Weathersby and a few pounds. You're looking at Marion Dye, who certainly fits the mold for what Jim Knowles' defensive lineman want to look like. And Knowles recruited him at Ohio State. I think Jordan Ross would probably need to put on a little weight. Again, we'll see what happens with Ross. I don't think that it's set in stone that he's back. I don't think it's set in stone that he's not back. I think that's still very much up in the air.
Austin Price of VolQuest sit on 3, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Austin, Kamori House is a linebacker from North Carolina. How aggressive is Tennessee in pursuing him? How do you feel like they sit with him compared to some of his other options?
Well, yeah, he's going to take some more visits, I think. He's, leaving town this afternoon or later this morning, and I don't expect him to do a lot of talking. He's not one that likes to do a lot of media. Tennessee's going to take one linebacker. The one that I'm watching is Amari Campbell from Penn State, who has announced his intentions to enter the portal but has yet to enter the portal. Once that happens, then I think Tennessee likely gets him down here for a visit. So, again, Tennessee's going to continue to recruit linebackers. They really like Keaton Thomas. Keaton Thomas decided to go ahead and commit to Ole Miss before he ever got to Tennessee. So, I still think the one I'm watching is Amari Campbell, but I think, House is, again, a good-looking kid, originally from Pasadena, California, who went way up North Carolina.
Austin, what about Lyric Rawls, a safety out of Kansas? Where do they sit with him? How high on the list of priorities is he at safety? And what options does Tennessee have at safety at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's certainly someone that Tennessee likes a good amount at the safety position, and they're going to continue to look at different guys, along the way at DB, specifically. I mean, everybody's kind of attached him to King Mac. I've still not heard that he's visiting, and so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I mean, Rawls is someone I think Tennessee's got some interest in. I think you're going to see them bring in another safety or two over the next 4 or 5 days, if things, work out well for them to be able to get some of these kids to campus as Tennessee, works a couple of guys, that are out there that are taking visits. At this point in time, I think Tennessee's kind of trying to keep things quiet, so to speak, just because, when, it gets out there, then all of a sudden those schools start to put a little more pressure on getting things done when you see, hey, this kid may visit school X or school Y after he leaves you.
One of those guys that's already visited, seemed to have had a good one, is Penn State transfer defensive lineman Xavier Gilliam. What is he as a prospect, and how do you feel about him fitting into, maybe a Rodney Garner or Jim Knowles defense?
Well, obviously he's been in the Jim Knowles defense.
Yeah,
so that certainly, there's a real perk to that. I mean, I talked to him yesterday, and I said, what do you think about the fact that, you would walk in the door and be, further along than the guys that have played football at Tennessee, and I thought that was interesting. We'll be interested to see what happens. But I mean, like that, he could very well end up at Notre Dame as well. I think Notre Dame's the one to watch there. For Xavier Gilliam.
Austin, Wake Forest defensive lineman Mateen Ibaragba, I think I said that right, is one of the top defensive linemen in the portal, expected to be on campus this week as well. Tennessee's swinging with some big teams there as well. How big of a priority is he? How good do you feel about Tennessee's chances in a high-profile recruitment with him?
Well, I mean, they're certainly going to have to if Gillum goes to Notre Dame, then, this thing's going to be putting more pressure on, Ibaragba, who again is, getting the big money offers from Texas Tech and, several other people. So, it's one of those things that's really going to have to, you're going to have to start landing some of these bigger fish. You're going to have to start landing some of your high priority guys. To this point, Tennessee's not done that, and until they do, then that's a problem. So they've got to start landing some. We'll see how things play out. I'm always one that says let things play out before you push the alarm. But you got to start pulling some guys in over the next few days, or it gets ugly.
And then Austin, an edge rusher, too. I know we've talked about, obviously, some of the internal options. Adam Trigg is a guy expected to be on campus. With where they sit at edge, with Caleb Herring's exit, with a lot of the change in type they have at that position, where do they sit with Adam Trigg? And could you see them bringing in some more options at edge as they look to address some of the outgoing spots at that position?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try to look at some edge guys. I mean, I think there's still some guys that I think will end up in the portal potentially, and that's kind of where it's at. I mean, that obviously Tennessee would like to get the kid from James Madison in here. The Sahir West. There's a kid at USC that's in the portal that's visiting Georgia and Alabama. Tennessee'd love to get him in here too, as well. Tompkins, but Tennessee's just trying to add edge guys.
He is Austin Price at Austin Priceless on Twitter. VolQuest.com, a must-have right now to stay in the know as the transfer portal is wide open and the craziness continues. That's got to be, Austin, the most players we've ever asked you about in one interview. I feel good about the amount that we covered today.
Yeah, I think we did too.
I love it. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate the time. I know it's a busy time. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Oz.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us here this morning. Lots going on, clearly.
A ton.
With a lot of names to sort through. And again, we thank Austin for his efforts because that is a lot to sort through and a lot of different names and comings and goings.
Yes, it is. I think it's a fascinating point, though, too. How do you manage this from his perspective on reporting and a fan's perspective, too? Because he mentioned, the idea that, Tennessee may have some stuff done, just like any other school. You just don't want to announce it. And that right there can, I ain't going to say be problematic, but it just leaves the uncertainty side of it, too, because, again, it's the point that I'm taking the most from is, Tennessee, just like most schools, when you have your priority guys, you want to get them signed quick. They make you feel warm and fuzzy, in this whole process of what the portal and NIL is, too.
Let's talk more about the quarterback options and react to what Austin said just there regarding Ty Simpson, regarding Joey Aguilar. We'll react to it and share our thoughts coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster, who is Fausting, man. Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing and Exteriors. Yes, Jewel with 2 L's out here, man. Builders trust them, and homeowners rely on them, too, just like I did. I had them come over to my house. It was around October to look at some stuff. I felt like there was a shingle, popping up, and immediately I was thinking to myself, man, we're going to have to replace the entire roof. No, we did not. Robbie Van Norman and his team came over to the house and they evaluated it, got on top of it, and fixed just a section. And me, I'm worried because I'm thinking, how long is this going to last? And he was just like, no, you're good for a long time. And that's right there is what you're looking for. You're not looking for somebody that's trying to get you to submit a claim to your insurance so that they could, receive benefits and pay for it to fix your roof. No, they do good work. They're a company that you can trust. They're local. They're in our community, man. They serve from Clarksville to Murfreesboro, and they've been here doing it for over 20 plus years. They live in in our community. As I just said, the local license and experience, and not just some out-of-town crew that's looking to upsell you. Listen, to learn more about them or to book with them like I do, go to jewelroofing.com. That's jewelroofing with 2 L's.com.
Wrapping up Hour 3 this morning on Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone. We'll hit the NFL headlines for you coming up at the top of the hour. And talk about the Titans interviews schedule, which is becoming clearer and clearer in the first few days of the head coach process really getting started. Your phone calls is 615-737-1045. So Austin Price was on with us a few minutes ago and says, Ramon, that Ty Simpson is a realistic option for Tennessee at quarterback if he decides to continue playing college football. How would he fit into the Josh Heupel Tennessee offense? And from Ty Simpson's perspective, does that move make sense? Is that good for Ty Simpson to make a change like that?
I think it could, because the issue that I think Ty had was indecisiveness. That offense at Tennessee runs pinpoints where the ball is going to go, and it strictly uses your arm talent. Ty has arm talent. He also, in my personal opinion, has just enough athleticism the way Hendon Hooker did to extend plays and be smart with the ball. He had no problem using his legs at Alabama, and I think that could be beneficial for that Tennessee offense, too, if he does choose to do that. And then, of course, to the other side of it, the Tennessee run game was, in air quotation marks, down this year.
It was.
If you find yourself a quarter, a running back, and Deshaun Bishop does come back and you find more help there, there's a proof of concept that, of course, the run game assists the pass game. But if that was his biggest issue as far as not having Jam Miller the entirety of the season, Alabama's offensive line didn't kind of, step up the way you needed him to for the entire season, that's where I'm hoping if Ty does come to Tennessee, or if Joey Aguilar does come back, that improves immensely. And also the other side of it, too, the veteran side of him, as far as having seen a lot from defenses. Like I said, as wide as that offense get from sideline to sideline, ain't even hash to hash, sideline to sideline, should open up more decisive playmaking and decision-making from Ty Simpson type. And I would also say that, too, if I'm not sure we're going to talk about Joey Aguilar if he does come back, but that could bode well for him.
I think it's fascinating. I think Ty being this year's Carson Beck is really interesting. Or is he Quinn Ewers? Go ahead.
I was going to say, did Carson move himself up in the first round for you, Carson Beck?
This year? No,
yeah. Okay.
He's not.
He's kind of settled in where he's going to be.
I'm really interested in seeing how much they trust him in their game against Ole Miss, how much they ask him to do.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think he's risen to first-round status. I think Carson Beck is a day 2 quarterback at best, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
My thing with Tennessee at quarterback is I view Joey Aguilar's November differently now.
What you mean? Oh.
The report from Ian Rappaport about the benign tumor in his throwing arm.
Yeah.
That he just got surgery on and expected to be fine. And, I think an 8-week recovery is what Rappaport said. Mm-hmm. Tennessee's offense was not explosive down the stretch in the same way it was against Georgia.
Right.
In the same way it was against Arkansas. We'll never know how much of that was because of the arm thing for Joey. Clearly, he was in some discomfort as the season went on. Tennessee could do a lot worse than Joey Aguilar again with a full offseason.
You know what I think about Joey?
What's that?
No, you go ahead. You're finishing up.
You're good.
What I feel about Joey is this. It hadn't been a quarterback that has spent 2 years in this system. The one that we did see was Hendon. Hendon, from that first year of starting to that second year of starting, took a huge step, I thought.
He was a Heisman candidate.
And
should have been in New York as a finalist.
To be quite honest with you, if Ty does go to the league and Joey's back, I'm ecstatic. Because the recent history of one quarterback spending 2 years in that system has proven to be very well. That's why.
Meaning like starting in that system, like playing.
And learning
and
playing in that system.
Not just practicing the system. For sure.
Joe Milton had a gap year because Hendon took over.
Yeah, he kind of had a year and a quarter.
Yeah. That's
what happened.
That's what gives me, honestly, I'd like to see Joey Aguilar back.
They just need to get an answer because their time is running out to bring somebody in as an option to push who they have if Joey is not back and Ty Simpson goes pro. At that point, you're sitting there with two quarterbacks with a combined 0 starts made in college, and the music's about to stop, and chairs are being taken.
It's like free agency in the NFL. Second week, the money's gone.
Right.
The talent's mostly gone.
Right. I mean, you've got Sam Levitt, who Tennessee has clearly talked to, who is probably going to LSU. Brendan Sorsby, who we talked about as an option, got family in Knoxville, system fit. He reportedly signed for $5 million at Texas Tech. Tennessee's got to make some moves. And again, it's not totally a red flag yet. It's a yellow flag for me on where they are in the transfer portal and the needs that they have addressed. Because you heard Austin say it right at the beginning of his interview with us. They've not really addressed much yet. Sounds like they're going to get Ori Williams, the LSU tackle. That's a right tackle option.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have Jesse Perry in place as well. They have Quay Moss. Amari Campbell is a guy that Austin tells us they're in good position with. That's the number 2 inside linebacker in the whole portal. It's a guy that's better than Keaton Thompson, who was on their radar, is now going to Ole Miss from Baylor. Better on paper than the one that was just on campus in Kamori House from UNC. It's just the quarterback thing that is the domino that just hasn't fallen yet. I don't know. I think they've got to have a good bit of optimism about one of their 2 veteran options, Ty Simpson or Joey Aguilar. Mm-hmm. They've got to have a pretty good feeling about something to move the way that they are right now. Or, Ramon, the third option is they've just got something going on behind the scenes that we know nothing about.
So that's kind of where I'm at, because one of the scenarios is Ole Miss is loud about Trinidad Chambliss.
Mm-hmm.
Trinidad Chambliss and Joey Aguilar are in the exact same situation. Trinidad Chambliss already signed his deal. They're very optimistic. It's been reported. Their board of directors, I guess, and legal side is very optimistic about him coming back. And that's where I think the same place that Joey Aguilar sits too, is in that ruling. Now, what Austin said is what I guess holds, I guess, the bridge, the hole in the bridge is, when will the judge decide?
Right.
And the good thing, I guess, for Ole Miss is they're just playing football right now. Tennessee's trying to play an offseason.
Is that the exact same situation with Chambliss and Joey?
I think the ruling of it being in the same boat does match, from my understanding. Just listen to Two Pros and a Cup of Joe this morning. Was their conversation.
See, I don't think it's the same, because I think Chambliss is looking for a medical red shirt.
Because he only played 2 games.
So it's the 2022 season for Trinidad Chambliss that's in question. His attorney, Tom Mars, he enlisted on December 17th. He's asking for a medical red shirt for that season at Ferris State. He took a traditional red shirt during his freshman year there in 2021. He did not play any games in 22, and he's retroactively seeking a medical red shirt for that season because he dealt with persistent respiratory issues that ultimately led to surgery to remove his tonsils.
So what are Joey Aguilar's years of playing? Because I got App State for 2 and Tennessee for 1. What was the...
JUCO. He's in the Pavia case of JUCO, the same way that Diego Pavia is looking for a 6th year for that. Pavia, we know, is not playing again at Vandy. Pavia's done.
Because
he's
of the Curtis commitment.
Well, I don't think it's because of that. I just think Pavia's done. I think if Pavia wanted to play again, Vandy would have it back. I think. I mean, that's my understanding of the situation.
But that's all things going against Jared Curtis' commitment, from my understanding. From what decommitment?
It's kind of
Georgia.
a chicken or the egg situation, right? Like Vandy was able to go all in and use the playing time as a pitch because I think Pavia was gone. Like I don't know how. I don't know. We could maybe have Chris Lee back on, and heck, we need to talk Vandy basketball with him anyway because they got Alabama tomorrow, and that's a big one. But I don't think that the Pavia Aguilar stuff is the same as Trinidad Chambliss. I think that's medical red shirt. Joey and Pavia and a couple other guys are looking for a JUCO extra year. Going back to like, hey, if you're going to give Pavia 1 year for 1 year at JUCO, why isn't he entitled to 2 years for having played 2 years of JUCO? You kind of open Pandora's box now. As always, the NCAA has got to live with it.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's a complex situation. It is a shame that things are litigated and decided in courts more so than just NCAA offices. And we've got to have these ambiguous timelines of like, well, maybe Tennessee will know, maybe they won't. Like, it stinks for all parties. At this point, it does feel like if you were giving me Aguilar / Simpson or any other option for Tennessee, it feels more likely that it's going to be one of Joey Aguilar or Ty Simpson at quarterback for Tennessee week 1 in 2026. Again, these situations change within the hour.
Feels that way.
But as of today at 8:56 a.m. Central Time in Nashville, Tennessee on
January 6th.
On Tuesday, January the 6th, that's what it feels like. Ask me again in an hour. Maybe it will have changed. Coming up, hour number 4, NFL headlines for you. Some coaching news, some Titans interviews that have been scheduled, some other news about coaches that may still get fired. There's one name that is still out there that might be gone, maybe. I don't know. Again, who's to say? We'll tell you what we know coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls, man, and they are exactly as I just told you. You can go to their website at medicalhousecalls.com, and they will have a physician come over to your house and just service you. They're available 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. They have same-day appointments available to you and also next-day guaranteed. Listen to them. You go to that website, and you can just grab your phone and call and text them to start your appointment at your house. That number is 615-838-2375. But here's what they're doing, man. They want to make sure that you have the ability to be serviced by a doctor anytime that you choose. We know and they understand that everybody's busy these days. Whether it's kids, whether it's school, whether it's job, whether it's, I just don't want to go to an urgent care and sit in there around everybody else with their germs. Yes, we get that, and they do too. Everything from sicknesses, infections, injuries, they can do your in-home labs if you want to, testing, and so much more. For a flat fee, you can get an evaluation, full exam, treatment plan, and prescriptions if you need. It's simple with them. Whether you need IV therapy just to bounce back from the weekend or you feel a little bit under the weather, they can do all of those things. They are simply good. I've personally used them myself, and I just want to tell you it's one of the easiest processes that you can possibly have. Again, the website is medicalhousecalls.com, or you can call or text them at 615-838-2375.
It is 9:02. Good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. We have interview dates for 3 of the Titans head coaching candidates per Ian Rappaport this morning. Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo will meet with the team tomorrow. Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy on Thursday, and then former Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski will meet with the team on Saturday. In NFL news, the Cowboys have fired defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus this morning after one season in the role. Dallas's defense finished 32nd in the league in points allowed per game, 30th in total yards allowed per game, and 30th in the NFL in takeaways with just 12 on the season. Dallas now will have their 4th defensive coordinator in 4 seasons. Tonight, number 21 Tennessee basketball returns to the court to face Texas at the Food City Center in Knoxville, and they're looking to avoid a second straight loss in SEC play. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. Central, and you can, of course, hear Vol Network's call right here on 104.5 The Zone starting at 7:30. For all your foundation repair waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show here already. Been a quick one. Been a lot to get to. Feel like we're just kind of all over the place. But that's kind of the way things are with the transfer portal and with head coach interviews, with candidates, with a great couple of conversations. Aditi Kinkhabwala in hour 2, Austin Price in hour 3. As always, if you missed any of it, you can head to your favorite podcast platform, search for Ramon and Will. Hit the follow button while you are there and listen to what you missed. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, Will Bowling. What you got?
No, I was just gonna say I feel like this the Jets fan, man, in this era that we in. Like, I hate this team. Like, everything about not this team, but like sports. I hate this sports era. This entire sports era that we're in is I said it's probably the weirdest we've ever dealt with sports, other than like the CBA aspect of it, like players being able to go into contracts in the NFL, like the pre-93 NFL that everybody lived in, or you couldn't really move from team to team. This sports era has been probably the biggest adjustments I think we've ever seen in sports for a while.
Especially in college, that's for sure.
Most definitely in college. And even the way the NFL operates with the coaching.
Well, and just locally. I mean, we mentioned it with Aditi. You and I have had a GM search or head coach search to cover every year we've hosted a show together.
5 years, at least for my side, and then yours too. Heck, it was the same
Started
thing.
in August of 22.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's it's a different world.
What we know so far about Titans interview schedules is what Ian Rappaport has told us. Titans have an early interview plan with Lou Anarumo speaking tomorrow. He is the Colts defensive coordinator and longtime Bengals defensive coordinator with Zach Taylor. Former Browns coach Kevin Stefanski is going to meet with the team on Saturday. Tom Pelissero and Rappaport also add that Chiefs OC Matt Nagy will interview with the Titans on Thursday. You made the point earlier about the fan base's negative reaction to Kevin Stefanski. And what we've seen in the F&M Bank chat, some of the replies that we've had, and again, we have a Twitter poll that says 55% of you think Kevin Stefanski would be a good move. Are Titans fans, in your mind, Ramon, being open-minded enough about their options? Because it certainly does not feel like there is a white whale, golden goose, use whatever cliche you want to use, perfect candidate out there that's universally going to be loved. What should our expectations be for this coaching search?
Hey, you mentioned it's the options. That's the one word that triggered my thought right now. It's the options that you're presenting with. Are you being realistic about it? And I think most are. It's just the ones that have a strong opinion about yay or nay. I don't think so. Because what you're looking for is what I said to moving forward with this team. Somebody with experience, somebody that understands the state in which this team is in, And I would also say somebody that aligns with what Mike Bergonzi's mindset of building a team should look like. He's a guy that's been attached to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think you can expect that year one. I don't think you can expect all things to be fixed. But what I expect out of a head coach that he's looking for, as far as this fan base's reality for what it is competency on game day, standard checkbox, is guys meeting the demand and saying the same thing. I feel like the last few years, even in just a fracture, I don't want to say locker room, but just performance that Coach Vrabel and his staff had going into that last year and looking at what Brian Callahan presented to it, just felt like it was too many moving parts. There needs to be the old drum line, Nick Cannon movie, one beat, one sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what you're looking. That, to me, is the realistic expectation. Whether that's my pick, Kevin Stefanski, whether that's Matt Nagy, Coach McCarthy, Spagnuolo, Lou Anarumo, so many other Anthony Weaver names I've seen come up. There's just
Cliff Kingsbury. Expected to meet with the team.
That part of it for me, that needs to be the expectation, because seen a good bit of this fan base kind of contradict itself, though, too, Will. A lot of this fan base has said, yes, we love Mike Bergonzi. Finally, somebody with a football mind is going to do it. I trust him. Do you still trust Bergonzi if he hires Matt Nagy? Do you still trust Bergonzi if he hires Stefanski or McCarthy or the long list of names that we have to get intel and evaluate?
Sure.
That's the contradiction that I don't like, that's kind of happening right now.
We're going to talk more about that and more about what this team needs right now, what you valued in an NFL head coach, and one of the greats that you had in Mike Tomlin for 11 seasons in Pittsburgh. And going to hear from Jeffrey Simmons on that coming up in about 10 minutes as well, on what he said yesterday about what he values in the process. Some other NFL news this morning. Browns GM Andrew Berry says they anticipate Deshaun Watson being on the team in 2026. Says they're very pleased with how Deshaun went through and attacked his rehab this past year, how he engaged with the team, what he did in meeting rooms, very pleased with the progress. Says, I can never predict the future, but right now we do anticipate him being on the 2026 team, but we have a long way to go before we get to that point with any player. Deshaun Watson, QB1 in Cleveland, 2026, or like Aditi, have you just moved on from Deshaun Watson?
That depends on Jim Haslam.
Yeah, seems like it.
I know, like, Jim has a B, I think, surrounding his name, billionaire. What is his cap number, like 60, 90, something crazy, stupid like that? My only reason I bring that up is if he feel like he can let go of him and this is just a tax write-off to him. I don't know what Deshaun Watson is as a quarterback. I had a polarizing opinion about him anyway. Oh, you just made a ooh face.
Yes,
what does the ooh face mean?
Because his cap hit this year is $80.7 million.
Deshaun Watson is going to take 27% of the Cleveland Browns salary cap in 2026. And the dead cap number, if they were to move on from Deshaun Watson with a post-June 1st release, would leave $80.7 million in dead cap money for 2026 and $50.4 million of dead cap money for 2027. Yeah. Minus the legal issues that he's had, I love to be in his shoes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of living the American dream. Get paid not to work.
Get paid, young fella, get paid.
But yeah, you're right. The legal issue's kind of a big deal. So we'll see. Good luck with that, Cleveland. Todd Bowles could still be in jeopardy, Ramon. Todd Bowles and Matt LaFleur, both.
He's going to ask questions.
Kind of rumored to maybe not totally be safe. Todd Bowles was asked yesterday in his end-of-season press conference about this and says, is your presence a sign that you will be back for 2026? He said, I just am thankful that I wake up every morning and I have a chance to go to work, so I can't worry about other coaches or what they do. I just know what my job is and what I try to do. Said he has not met with ownership, but will later this week. The Bucs 35-33 in 4 seasons under Todd Bowles. This is the first year they did not make the postseason under his leadership. Was asked what he would say to fans who didn't think he's earned the right to return. Says, all I can do as coach and be myself. I've earned the chance. I won 3 straight division titles. That says a lot as far as I'm concerned. One of the bigger underachievers in the NFL this year as a team is Tampa. And what they were unable to do in a not great division in the NFC South. Should he be on the hot seat? Should he be under consideration for being let go at this point?
It kind of goes to the Janet Jackson song, I feel like, with all these guys. What have you done for me lately? He's right. Man, I've just won y'all 3 straight divisions. Like, where's the stock in the work that you've done?
How much credit does he deserve for winning 3 straight divisions in maybe the worst division in football, in your opinion?
How much credit does he get? It's all of it, because it's attached to him. He brought you praise. He brought you postseason. Like, there are millions of dollars attached to getting a home playoff game because you win your division. And that's so often forgotten in one calendar year. Like, I get it. Like, he was without Mike Evans for a good bit, too. Like, there's that side of it. Baker became a little bit of I ain't gonna say an issue, but he wasn't as consistent as you needed him to be. Left tackle had issues at time. Like, there's a good bit of blame to be put around managing that squad. Like, that is also the other side of, like, being a head coach, the people management, team management side, too. Like, the on-field product matters, but you got to, manage a lot of those things going down into it. Was he flagrant and losing some games he shouldn't have this year? Absolutely. But the hotter Tampa got, also the better competition they started to play and lose games, too.
They had a difficult schedule, despite the fact that they were in the NFC South. Tampa has withstood offensive coordinator turnover really well until this year. And Josh Grizzard, who is the OC, is kind of the first one to not really meet the expectation of the guy before him. Under Todd Bowles, because it was Dave Canales first.
Yep. Who just won the NFC South.
He's the guy that beat them, not in the last game, but in the division. Then it was Liam Cohen, who replaced Dave Canales.
Who just won this division.
So your last 2 offensive coordinators are the head coaches of the divisions in the South in the NFL. I think you deserve a little bit of grace for having to constantly replace your offensive play caller. I don't think Todd Bowles should be fired. I think you give him 1 more year, personally.
Winning gets boring. That's what we're learning.
Winning moderately and not significantly gets old. You know what I would give for 3 straight division titles and just missing out on a Week 18 playoff berth right now?
A home playoff game.
Yeah, 3 straight years with home playoff games. Tampa Bay. 1 bad year, okay. Mike Evans got hurt. Offensive line turnover. Baker Mayfield had a down year. You didn't get the OC hire right. Is that really fireable? I don't think it should be.
So to pose a question to you, who's had the worst 2024 to 2025 season? Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders and his management of Jaden Daniels?
Great question.
Like, I'm more actually concerned about, Dan Quinn and Washington than I would be, Todd Bowles in this situation.
I agree, and I think it's because of the division that Dan Quinn is in. Dan Quinn's going to be back, it sounds like, in Washington.
It seems, yeah.
But I think, too, they signed so many 1-year deals and 2-year deals with older, aging, veteran Bobby Wagner types. That there's a lot more that's got to be done to maintain that roster than maybe there is in Tampa, where you feel like you have a younger core.
Yeah.
Just the way it seems from our perspective in Nashville. I would agree with you that I think there are more alarm bells going off in D.C. than there are in Tampa right now, and D.C.'s keeping their coach, and Washington is.
Yeah, they are. But they're committed to stability.
They are. 615-737-1045. It was funny. The Glazer family is who owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They also own Manchester United. They fired the manager at Manchester United yesterday. Bucs fans like, oh, come on. What about our guy? Well, we'll have what they're having across the pond. What's the exchange rate on buyout money? Again, 5 of you are just like, yeah, I got that reference. And the rest of you are like, what are you talking about?
I think I know.
Coming up, what Jeffrey Simmons says he wants in a head coach. What did Ramon value in his 11 years of the NFL in a head football coach? Because he had one of the good ones who coached him, and one that I think we would love to be in the mix here. Who is it? in the mix here. We'll talk about that next.
It's Ramon Foster for Brian's Motorsport. Yes, that team, that guy, that shop, one of the best around, man. Well, they believe in this. You dream it, they design it and build it for you. They're located in 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville, Tennessee, man. And here's the thing about Brian and the work that he does. It's not just about him servicing your vehicle, man. He's in this community giving back to it also. Recently, he ended up outfitting a veteran's vehicle for free. A guy met at a game, man, in Knoxville and said, you know what, we're going to do something nice for him. And that was one of the coolest things I've seen anybody do, especially in that business of car customization, man, because, again, there's a lot of work that goes into those situations right there. But if you're looking to enhance your vehicle, that's the company to go to. They can go do a complete custom build. They can just do wheels for you. They can do lift kits, lighting kits, winches, interior and audio customizations. You can wrap a vehicle. Brian's just one of the best to do it, man. Flawless work that he does, and he simply wants to make sure you feel good and comfortable riding your vehicle. Listen, you can go to briansmotorsports.com. You can visit all their socials at Brian's Motorsports. Make sure you tell them when you show up to the shop, hey, Ramon sent me.
Ramona Will continues in hour 4 on your Tuesday morning, whether you are commuting to somewhere on I-24, I-40, 65. Maybe you're commuting from your bed to the home office. We appreciate you making us a part of your morning. You can be a part of the show at 615-737-1045. We will get back to those calls in just a moment. Want to hear from Jeffrey Simmons on what he values in a head coach. Want to get Ramon's thoughts as well on what he valued for 11 years in the league in his head coach and Mike Tomlin. Jeffrey Simmons was asked yesterday on Locker Room Cleanout Day, what gives you so much confidence in general manager Mike Bergonzi? Big Jeff had this to say.
Just a conversation we'd had, and throughout when Mike got here and up until this point today, I had a meeting with him this morning, and his mindset and his vision, is he get paid to do that. And, Mike know what it looked like. He was in Kansas City for a long time, and he was around winning football. So he know what winning feel like. He know what winning look like. So it's the reason why he here. I don't know what went into the change of the way they did the upstairs things, but, they have a vision, and it's hard for all of us to see it right now. But, when things really flip for us, we all gonna understand it. The reason why we're doing things the way we're doing it around here, and I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, Mike is a winner, and hopefully he can help us get back to that point.
What do you think for in a head coach? What do you think Mike is looking for in a head coach?
It's all about leadership. You get a guy come in, and that's the main thing is setting that, because the foundation is here. But we have to get a culture that can sustain, even if you happen to lose a season. But you have to get someone in here that's a winner. Also, like I said, it's all start with leadership. When you get a great leader in here, you can build that culture. I think, and that foundation. That's how you win football games in this league. So, everything else come with it, like the wins in the NFL, that'll come with it. But, the off season and leading and training camp, all that matters. So, I'm looking forward to whoever they hiring to get this thing back rolling.
Follow-up question to Jeff yesterday. Do you enjoy seeing 4 defensive head coach candidates request for an interview?
I love having a defensive head coach. You love to see it, but, it don't matter, man. I could be an offensive head coach. As long as we have the best coaches that could win us football games around here. I'm excited just to figure out who it's going to be pretty soon, and hopefully we could get a winning head coach. I just want to win football games.
Whoever that next head coach is, what would be the first thing you would say to them when you sit down and meet with them for the first time?
How can we get this? How can we set the foundation? I think it's just like building a house. If that foundation messed up, you don't have a good house. So I think, how can we build from? It's like I always say, it's just like my body. When I first get into the offseason, I try to teach my body how to walk again. I try to teach my body how to move again. And it's the same thing with the football team. We got to learn how to be a team. We got to learn the adversity. We got to learn how to get led. I think that the hard truth sometimes, having a great leader coming into this facility that could, be a douchebag at times, but also, know that he got our best interests. So, like I said, the foundation is everything, and that's one of the, first thing I hope anybody could talk about when you trying to lead a football team.
It's Jeffrey Simmons yesterday speaking in the Titans locker room. A lot to unpack there, Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
What stands out to you about Jeff's comments yesterday?
Is my last point that he just made. I got my list of things too, but the last part that he said was, man, get somebody to know how to win. He was like, you can be a D-bag, but know how to win. Like that, know how to lead. I think that was a reference, and probably, how tough Vrabel could be at times and stuff like that. Like, I don't care what type of coach you can be. You could be the, Tom Coughlin types, that are very strict. Like, everybody have to wear the same socks. Everybody got to have the shirts tucked in and walkthroughs. We don't have any extra uniform items on game day. Like, that's the Tom Coughlin style that I've heard guys that played for him in the New York Giants. Or you can be the Andy Reid type that, is very chill and relaxed. But Jeff Point, in the end, I think is what he's seeking the most. Great question by TD there is somebody that knows how to lead. Man, I'm going to go ahead and go into my what I loved about Coach Tomlin.
Yep.
And that to me is probably the biggest thing, though. By the way, so I say that comment, I do appreciate Jeff's just urgency and I can tell on his public speaking side of things, he's I love that. I love an athlete, man, that can go into public space and be uncomfortable and finally start to get more comfortable. Shout out to Jeff on that, man. That's big time by him. The things I loved about Coach Tomlin to this day. Transparency. Tell me I'm bad. You can tell me in front of my teammates. That standard of knowing where you are and tell me I'm good. Like, transparency with Coach Tomlin, I thought was elite. The second thing that was most important about a coach, and I think this team that Coach Tomlin did well, keeping football the main focus. He didn't care about your baby mama issues. You got arrested. He cares because we got to handle legal stuff. He would tell us at holiday times, pass your credit card off to your loved ones. We got to focus on this thing. His motto is our game is football, our business is winning. He kept that the main thing. So transparency, keeping football the main thing. That's uber crucial. It's so important. Tough but human. Jeff just said that too. I don't care how tough you are. Coach Tomlin is a hard coach, but he's human. Selfless. What I mean by selfless is, Coach, we don't like doing it this way, man. Within the confines of his structure, we need to do this just a little bit different, Coach. Understanding and being able to shift. And then the last one I think is cool. Leader but confident. Coaches that get in these one of 32 jobs sometimes get skittish. They get a little worried. They look over their shoulders. They want more control, or they're not comfortable with their staff. Like, that's what Coach Tomlin was to me, those things. Transparent. He kept football the main focus. It's only one goal, and that's the Super Bowl. There's smaller goals on the way to that, but that's it. Tough but human, gotta have that. You can't let the players just control and run everything, bully you. Selfless, taking ideas all the time, and then somebody that's a leader and confident in what their job is.
I want to get more on that and talk more about the type that is important for this team right now. Let's get Bam in here on the phones. You can hop in 615-737-1045. What's up, Bam? Good morning.
Bam.
Yo, what up, Bam? How y'all feeling, man?
We're good, man. You?
I'm cool. My question is in regards to some of the coaches. Do y'all feel like we'll see more interviews? Let's just say, not going like if the Steelers lose and they fire Tomlin, do you think we'll possibly, take a stab at him, or are we just trying to hurry up and get the coach we need to get in so we can start moving ahead? Do you think, if they fire Harbaugh, we'll go after him? And to School's point, talking about a leader of men, I feel like he's talking about the attitude. I feel like when Mike Vrabel was here, if you look at Mike Vrabel or Dan Campbell, you see an attitude. You see, like, backyard bully. And that's kind of what we were. And that's what I feel like they're saying, leader of men. Not necessarily saying that is what a leader of men is, but it's more so the attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like I told y'all before, Brian Callahan was just kind of like Corey from Boy Meets World. it just didn't have the same kind of feel.
Okay.
So, that's just, I want to know y'all's opinion on that.
Thank you, Bam.
For sure.
Let's start with that second point about a Vrabel type versus Callahan. What do you think about Bam's point there?
Vrabel type versus Callahan, but that's my what was that? My last point though, leader and confident. Like, that can come in different forms. I think the Dolphins love Mike McDaniel, albeit like his quarterbacking situation is, a little bit different. I don't look at Todd Bowles as a menacing Mike Vrabel type. I personally don't myself. I don't think Sean McVay is a menacing coaching type like that either. I think he's direct and, he's confident in his job.
More than one way to do the job.
It is, Bam. What I would tell you is, man, Andy Reid is, he's the softy guy, the big kid that was doing the punt, pass, and kick stuff on TV. Like, he's the same way, too. I look at some of those stereotypes, though, Bam, as guys, that's just what their personality is. I don't think Dave Canales, who just won the NFC South, is a menacing guy himself. Just looking across the league, there are different ways to do this. My 5 point that I gave is kind of the way I look. Pete Carroll, Super Bowl winning coach, is not that type. I think Coach Tomlin gives that off because his focus and main thing is football. I think that's what you're looking for, Bam, and like Titans fan base is somebody that's focused on football. Vrabel, yes, to your point, gave that look because he's focused on football.
I don't think coaches that even get the opportunity to be head coaches, Ramon, don't get there without having a bad side, having a loud disciplinarian side. Even the coaches that are the most pro player, right? Like, I don't think I can with 100% certainty say that Brian Callahan was unsuccessful because of his disposition or because he wasn't yelling enough or because, I think Brian Callahan, first of all, gets really undersold on his rough/tough side because we saw it on the practice field. We've seen it in clips the Titans have put out. Was Brian Callahan a successful head coach of the Tennessee Titans? No. Mm-mm. Can I definitively say that it's because he wasn't a, quote, leader of men? Also, no. I don't know. I think there's a lot of reasons why Brian Callahan wasn't successful, but it's not because he wasn't a, quote, leader of men. You don't get the opportunity to be one of 32 without being a leader of men. Let's just say that on the front end, right? Am I on the right track here?
Yeah, you're on the right track.
And I'm not saying everyone's Dan Campbell or everyone's Mike Vrabel or everyone's, again, there are a lot of different ways to do this job. Just to get to do the job, though, you've got to be able to chew somebody out. You've got to be able to have a tough side. You've got to be able to, 100%. Now, we could talk until we're blue in the face about how much that matters, how much that type does or doesn't work with today's athlete, how much is important to be a Dan Campbell type. Is Dan Campbell really the model we want to follow? Because Detroit, talking about underachievers this year, you think they didn't underachieve this year? I mean, are you always going to be hurt if you're too tough? Can you wear play? There's so many elements to it. This is where, again, open-mindedness is so critical. And the idea that the old thing that we had with Mike Vrabel is gone. Mike Vrabel is not coming back. There are plenty of good coaches in the National Football League who talk, act, and coach differently than Mike Vrabel. That has to be okay. Not singling out Bam, not singling out Scoop. I made the point earlier. I just think this is something we've got to address, Ramon. There is a pathway to the Titans hiring a really good coach that sounds and talks and coaches a lot differently from Mike Vrabel. We've got to be okay with that.
I think any coach walking in that building will understand what Tennessee tough is. What Jeff and the two, I guess, billboards is Jeff and Cam. Their expectation, I think, is pouring into those dudes to let that attitude that they have and expectation ooze out of that locker room. That's why I say, that last point of leader and being confident, that to me is what comes with keeping football first is the most important thing. The other thing that allows you to be and act like that too? Winning.
Having done it before. Having a level of
winning.
Gravitas and bravado that comes with, hey, when I tell you to do something, it's because I'm Mike McCarthy and I won a Super Bowl.
Believe that.
It's because I'm Kevin Stefanski and I've been coach of the year twice and won 11. And that's what you get in someone who's been a head coach before and has a proof of concept that can be trusted by the people in that locker room.
I just want to know how. I will go ahead and start the mantra. In Berganzi, we trust. In Berganzi, we believe. Believe in Berganzi. How does one match belief in him and not belief in his decisions? Right? Because Femi Oladejo seemed like he was going to turn that corner before he got injured. Like sometimes you have to see it through. But I Titans fans, I sympathize with y'all.
I do too.
Because here's the thing. We've come on this radio station and others have their stations that have had these conversations about, what the future is going to look like for this team. And nothing's shown any positivity at all. I don't know how much positive Coach Brian Callahan had in general.
Cam Ward's growth in December is the root of all positivity. The foundation. It's not the only positive thing, but Cam Ward's development is the foundation of all of it. And that's kind of a new thing we just kind of got in December.
Yeah. It's
they got to earn trust over there. And they know
do. They do.
And that's where I think a lot of this frustration comes from. And I get it.
1,000%.
I think we both totally get that Titans fans are frustrated because they don't know if they can trust the decision makers that are about to make another really important decision.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
It's like having daddy issues is what it is, or mommy issues. Dad say he coming to pick you up on Saturday, and he never shows up. Mom said we going to Walmart to pick out a toy. You stay home and play with, I get it.
Yeah, right. Coming up, I want to ask you about the quality that is most critical for this organization right now. Love your list. Love the things that you valued in Mike Tomlin. If you're listing out on a whiteboard priorities and what the next head coach has got to be, what's at the top of that list? We'll talk about that coming up next. Turning the calendar over to January means that we tend to focus on living cleaner, healthier lives, right? Well, why should we treat our homes any different? Hey, it's Will Bowling for my friends at Zero Res. We spend the majority of our time at home, so why not make it a healthy experience? You got to get Zero Res out there to help you clean, help you purge, and help you clean your home the best possible way. Zero Res is a smarter, lasting clean. There's no harsh chemicals. There's no soap residue. You get faster dry times. You stay cleaner longer because Zero Res technology uses ZR water. No one can clean like Zero Res because only Zero Res cleans with ZR water. There's no soap, no residue. Soft, fluffy carpets. They're going to stay clean longer. No harsh chemicals. You got to check this out. ZeroResNashville.com. Remember the phone number, 615-535-9376. That's Zero Res, Z-E-R-O-R-E-Z, Nashville.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. 615-535-9376. And don't forget to ask about their air duct cleaning. Ramona will wrap it up the show this morning. Coming up tomorrow, much more to come on Titans head coach search 2026. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Of course, Rhett Bryan tomorrow morning. Going to take a look at some playoff matchups tomorrow. Some college, some NFL. Start that process as Wednesday is still reset day, even if we are not resetting for a Titans upcoming opponent. Ramon, if you were making a list of qualities, of important things that a Titans head coach has got to have, what's the top of your list right now for this organization right now?
Keeping football the main focus. I feel like as of late, just the end of Vrabel's, I guess, disagreement that he had, potentially the rumors are with the front office and how, he want his players versus, J-Rob. That became a thing. And you look at Coach Brian Callahan coming in and, it's about, trying to build a team and keep it fun. And you got to go through that and balancing the quarterback thing. And I think it just kind of lost focus into keeping football the main thing on the field. Yeah. I just felt like in the last 3 years, I guess we've been doing this show together, it's just been no streamlined effect on keeping success on the field. Everything has been, I feel like, almost a soap opera. The entire 3 years we've done this show, I feel like it's been a soap opera of football, surrounding football.
How much of that's because of who the head coach has been?
And that's what I'm saying. And that's why.
Yeah. Right. Like, a lot of it has been outside of the head coach's office.
It's got to be a football-minded person. And I think when you keep that at the forefront of this interview process, I think everything else handles, falls in place. Callie was searching to me.
Sure. So, from what I hear you saying, then experience is vital.
It's a must. Yeah. Unless
head coaching experience.
Unless whoever it was, DC, I guess, with the Chargers, Jesse Minter.
Yeah.
Unless Jesse Minter's got a great plan on his coaching staff and his sure hits of people that's going to take this job, that to me, I saw a comment recently. It's like, well, who doesn't this show like? Like, that's the issue. Every coach got his flaw.
Yeah.
It got some positives. Who gonna fit keeping football like the main thing? Like, that's why I think this fan base has so many questions.
I really, in this cycle, there aren't a ton of names I really have a strong feeling about either way.
Exactly.
There's not a Ben Johnson. There's also not any guarantee that the bottom of the barrel, quote unquote, is all that bad either. Ramon, when the Commanders hired Dan Quinn, I thought they were insane. And he took them to the NFC Championship with Jaden Daniels at quarterback. We just don't know. And so, yeah, maybe some years there are things that I would have strong opinions on. If you're asking me who I don't love, I'm not sold on Jeff Hafley. Mm-hmm. I'm not sold on Joe Brady at all. I think Joe Brady's struggles in Carolina are a red flag. I think Buffalo fans have a really negative opinion of Joe Brady. The vibe I get is that Joe Brady's good at drawing up plays and making concepts that work. I'm not sure he has the best feel for calling those plays in the moment. And I'm not the biggest Cliff Kingsbury fan, although I think him with Cam Ward would be a really fun fit. And my follow-up question is, who's his defensive coordinator? That's my question for Jeff Hafley, too. Who's your offensive coordinator? So, again, even the candidates I don't love, if Joe Brady could bring in, I don't know, a legit, if Raheem Morris is Joe Brady's defensive coordinator, all of a sudden my tune changes on Joe Brady. Yeah. And that's not, those two don't even have a relationship. I'm just putting a name out there. Who's their staff? Why did that vision work for this front office? I have so many follow-up questions about who and what's and why's once we know who the head coach is, that I'm not going to totally plan a parade. I'm also not going to totally plan a riot based on who's hired. We're just going to have to wait and see. We just don't know. That's where I'm at on this cycle.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am.
It's
too.
like draft classes. I don't like grading draft classes in May.
Yeah.
After you draft them in April, I'll grade a draft class 2 years later. I'll grade the hire probably 2 years later.
There's no Shanahan tree guy this cycle.
Not necessarily.
Who?
That would be Clint Kubiak. Would be Shanahan tree. Yeah.
Well, what is this?
There's
staff?
always someone.
What is
Shanahan
his?
tree.
You know, it's like
Robert Saleh is technically Shanahan tree.
Is he defensively?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's not the offensive quote unquote Shanahan tree guy. I mean, you could. They're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. But Clint Kubiak would be the main one. Yeah.
I'm with Curtis. He told you to join the riot, man.
Back at it tomorrow morning.
Oh, we are.
For 4 more hours, we'll react to whatever else happens today in the coaching circles. Try to get somebody else to talk about another strong candidate, and we'll keep the train moving, Ramon.
I guess.
I guess. You need to tell me something I don't know?
Join the riot, man. We riot.
We'll talk to you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Yes, but remember at all time, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot, baby.